Live. We are live.
Did it.
It's 15:48 and we are ready to go. Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Gonna bring that up.
Am I muted?
There we go.
No,
Just
I'm
gonna
not.
say, move the
Very
microphone
well.
things across.
Excellent.
All right. We've got. Is the camera deliberately looking slightly toward this way?
No, apparently just maybe the tripod got kicked or something at some point. It's fine.
I'll let you quickly sort that. I was just going to say, this guy shouldn't be visible. Anyway, yes, hello everyone.
Oh, it was probably me with this bubble wrap.
Yeah, yep, okay, right. We are adjusting the camera. We are moving this way. I realise. Yeah. The entire tripod setup is
concerning.
Yeah, I'm not going to try and explain it right now. However,
that box is in the. What is going on here? Hold on. There we go.
Okay. All right.
There we go. Right. That's there. That's over there. Very good. I was just trying to get the tripod straight again.
All right. Okay, right. The camera is straight, everyone. Good. All right, that'll do. No. You just did the same thing again. There's a big bundle of bubble wrap at the bottom of the tripod that the camera is on, and Caradog keeps leaning against it with his foot when he leans into the camera and pushing the tripod away. Right. Okay.
That'll do. That'll do. That's close enough.
Good. Right. Where was I? I was going to, as I was going to say, I have to begin today's show with an apology. This is my apology video because
Sonic, Tumblr, something.
Probably. The main thing is, you guys were right about the echo. There was an echo. And Caradog is just like, well, you could only barely hear it. But I had a listen. I was like, oh, no, that's an echo. I don't like that. So, yes, there was an echo. Echo confirmed. It should... We've had a look at it. We've done a sound check. We think it's resolved. We think it was a problem with the wireless mic receiver because that just sits switched on and plugged into this streaming computer all the time. And we have a suspicion that had just been left turned on for a month and was just a bit unhappy. Because today when I went over to check on it, the receiver itself had actually hard crashed and I had to physically reset it. So we think that was unhappy having just been left plugged in and switched on for a very long time. So it should be fine. So hopefully that should all be sorted. But yeah, it was there. It seemed like there was just some slight lag to one of the mics. Either way, it should all be fine. But yeah, so if it pops up, someone say something and we'll see. But yeah, it should all be sorted now. Right. Anyway, yes, hello everyone. Hello, Spud.
Perfect.
All right. Hey, Spectrum, how's it going? Unlikely you'll be heading this way anytime soon. Yeah, that's no problem at all, Spectrum. I had a suspicion that was how things were going. You know, obviously everyone's got stuff to do, everyone's busy, so we hadn't gotten back to each other. So yeah, I suspected that was what was going on. So yeah, we're knocking around other ideas for that. What's the current plan? Because
I need to buy gas.
Okay, yeah, we're still going to try and regas it, but also, were you still thinking of getting another chap to build a better one? Is that still alive, or is that...
So, to talk about the chiller, specifically...
Yeah, just to add context, we're talking... Oh boy, it's coming up. Oh. This guy.
This thing?
Yeah. Okay, we're putting it down now. This was not worth the bit.
Well, it was to provide context.
Yeah.
Now you're getting in the way.
Okay, I'm moving it all out of the way.
Stop it. This was fine. Anyway, that thing, the freezer, the chiller, the sub-ambient cooling, Majubi, that currently does not work.
Yes.
Where it's suspected that the reason it doesn't work is simply it's out of gas.
Yes.
There are two things with that. One, yes, I've got a friend who's just got his, last year or so, got his ticket for refrigerant stuff. So he's all ticketed for that.
Yes.
We
have a local chap who is qualified.
Yes, absolutely. And at some point I'm going to go round to see him with it, and we'll regas it once I've bought some gas. Separately, yes, had conversations with him about higher capacity ones.
Yes.
What would be involved, things like that.
Because he theorised that it wouldn't be particularly difficult to build a bigger one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the only reason why these things are so expensive and hard to find is just purely just for lack of market as such. They're just such an
volume.
There's such an incredibly niche bit of equipment. It's not that they're difficult to build. It's just there's just such a small demand for them that no one builds them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a conversation I had with him about building them to order. And doing that, and it was a case of he was certainly interested in that idea of building them to order, and we forgot to lock the door.
I forgot to lock the door. One moment, everyone, I shall return.
Absolutely. But so there was a conversation with him about building those to order as well at some point in the future, and also a case of just looking at what would be needed to upgrade that one or to make a better one and things like that. So just kind of to go through those motions as well. So there are things in the works with that. And I know that there was a comment at some point when I was shuffling parts around in my PC, and we got that Asus ROG board out. Graham was saying about going through those options and doing another overclocking thing in kind of effectively a slightly controlled environment to kind of show it off. So there are kind of thoughts and things going with that. So yes.
That
was all of that.
Yeah, that's the state of the chiller. So TLDR, yep. Needs a quick pressure test. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's certainly not beyond us, but so that's the long and the short of it is we're going to try and regas it long term. We're looking to try and.
Well, I'm going to get someone who deals with refrigerators on a regular basis to vacuum it, test it, refill it. So yes. You about to go? Oh, it's too hot.
Yes. I'm trying to very slowly put down my microphone. I mean, this we have the setup that it shouldn't actually destroy everyone's ears if we actually just put down a mic, but
absolutely. But
I don't want to put that to the test while we're live. So.
At some point, something will happen then with that with people who know what they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, a case of we'll go through and actually build new mounting plates and stuff for it. Just so we've got support for LGA 1700.
Cool. And Ken Sutherland, thank you very much for the £4. Coffee indeed. Much appreciated. Cool. Right. Okay. So, right. That's the end of that discussion. So, yes. Okay. Well, past that then. Welcome to the show. What was I going to? Oh, yeah. So spoke. Yeah. So the echo was real. We've sorted that. Blah blah blah. All right. So we're putting this in there today. This is the one we unboxed this last week, as everyone knows, and I was fawning over it, going, "Oh, look at that! Oh, it's amazing!" and etc. etc. And I want to build in it just because I don't want this to just sit in my back room collecting dust. And like I could come up with ideas and be like, sort of, oh, I'm going to do a build in it, and it's going to have hard tube water cooling and all that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get round to that.
You can have an external rad.
Yeah, it's got. Yeah, we could do all of this, but I'm not going to get round to it. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to put. So this computer, this is the Corsair that sits behind us, and this is used for testing and backing up hard drives. It's very simple, basically. I just plug hard drives into it either by the SATA cables hanging out the side or via a USB dock, and I back up customer data. I test their drives and I restore it to SSDs or replacement drives. That's its main purpose. And so because of this, because this is mainly a utility computer and it has wires hanging out the side, it's not really terribly suited to this case. I'm like, what would be cool is to put it in here where I can put more storage hard drives in this, like actual, because at the moment this has got a 4 terabyte drive in it, but it could do with more storage. So I've got another 4 terabyte drive, 2 4 terabyte drives actually.
Yes.
lying around here, so we can actually stack this thing up with more storage. And I can just have a more suitable case for the task at hand that also looks amazing. And B, I'm kicking around the idea of also setting this up as a Plex server and stuff like that. And I'm not married to that idea, but once it's here and it's got the hard drives in it, that's a thing that I could then do in the future. Whereas this setup is just not suited for that.
Yeah, also being able to put in an optical drive, just so you've actually got a machine with an optical drive in.
Yeah, because at the moment, if someone comes in here with DVDs that they want backing up or whatever, I have to plug this into the cables hanging out the side and balance it on a box. And I don't actually have a system with a hard-mounted DVD drive in it or a Blu-ray drive. So now we can have actually a proper hard-mounted Blu-ray drive, which will be nice as well.
Is that a writer as well?
I don't think so. No, DVD-ROM, Blu-ray disc. Just says BD-ROM drive, so no, I would say no.
No,
but
very well.
I have zero interest in burning. When people come in and they ask me to burn CDs, I generally say no, unless they have a very specific, unless they have a really good reason why it should be burnt to a DVD. I usually say no, don't. Let's come up with a better solution.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I was just wondering if it was a burn.
Yeah, understandable. No, it's not a particularly exotic drive. It's just one that was lying around. So, right. So yeah, that's that. And the other question that's going to come up, and I want you guys' opinions on this as well, is you people's opinions, is whether we're going to RGB this or not, because I've got some 140mm Corsair RGB fans, and I'm tempted to put. I kind of want to OEM plus this and do tasteful RGB, so it wouldn't actually be like, I'm thinking of putting the RGB fans in it and just having them set to white or something like that, just static white, just so it's lit up, kind of thing. But I haven't decided, so I'm kind of interested on that. Yeah, everyone's sort of Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, I'm getting shot down. I'm getting shut down hard on that. Okay. Oh, okay. The pro RGB people are waking up now.
As I said, you just need to have fake RGB Noctua fans by setting the fans to brown.
Actually, it's dark orange. Brown isn't a color. Anyway, so yes, white is the maximum amount of RGB. Yeah, this is true, Treb. Also, hello.
100% RGB.
Okay, right. Well, there's conflicting information. Well, you know what? We've got the next up to 3 hours to do this, so we'll try both. Because the fans that are in there aren't particularly exotic, and they're 3-pinners, but I'm not super worried about silence with this rig. I don't want it to be loud, but I'm also not bothered about getting it down to dead silent because of its purpose, you know. So yeah. Also, the case fans will do basically nothing because this thing is going to be running with the side panel off all the time. So good. Okay. Well, let's start work, and we'll see how we go. The first thing we've got to do is tear this thing apart. Which is actually going to be fairly easy. We need the power supply, we need the actual components. We're not pulling the fans out, the fans or the fan controller or the RGB out of it, because these are all 120mm fans, and this is 140. So whatever, even if we do RGB this, we're not going to use these fans anyway. This case will get put to one side, and I'll use it for a build at some point, and it'll get sold as a refurb build. So. All right, RGB Super NAS, yeah. All right, so the RGB and anti-RGB people are duking it out in the chat. Do I still have to deal with IDE, SATA, and earlier drives? I do occasionally get IDE stuff in, and I've actually got a very simple solution to that, and that is this guy here. This is a USB to hard drive adapter, and this has got serial ATA, 44-pin IDE and 40-pin IDE, or parallel ATA. And it's only USB 2, but obviously when you're dealing with IDE drives, USB 2 is fine. So that's basically my USB 2 solution. And then you need to put Molex or some other external power into the drive, but that's not difficult to do. But yeah, this is what I pull out when someone comes in with legacy stuff. And they do show up now and then. Every now and then someone will come in with legacy drives, and I need to address those. Anything that is old enough to have IDE in will be treated as data recovery only. I don't actually do any kind of repairs or servicing on them, but yeah, for data recovery, it's fine.
Is the AIO coming out?
We'll take it out because we'll need to get it. We'll need to take it out in order to get the motherboard out. However, we're not using that AIO because it's a 240, and we need a 280. We've got a 280 over there. I can't remember if it works or not. I can't remember what fittings are on it, but I'll go and get it just to find out if we actually need to address this.
It can be no more temperamental than this one is.
Or
is this the good one?
Yeah, that one's reliable. That's not the bad one that needs jostling now and then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one's not running in there. Okay, right. We've got this 281 has got AMD fittings on it, and I don't think I've got Intel mounts for this because it's got the weird oddball ones on it.
Oh.
And it's got thermal paste on it because apparently I hate my future self. Is there anything I can do about that? I don't think there is. No, I definitely no. Oh, that's very unfortunate. Should have checked this in advance, but I didn't. Right, that's the crap one.
I presume the NZXT ones are 120mm fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of 240 AIOs with fitting. I've got loads of fittings for all of the 240mm ones. I just don't have any other fittings for this one, and this is my only 280. Unless no, that's not an option. I was going to say we've got a 280 in the recording rig, but we can't pull that out live on air.
Last week we hot swapped thermal paste.
I was about
this week we hot swap an AIO
that we're streaming off of at the same time. The problem is, I'm just like, we could totally do that. That's totally a thing that could be done. But also, no, let's not even entertain that idea. Okay. What we need to have a look, and we need to see if we can
just use the NHD 15.
Oh yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to have water cooling in it. So yeah, we could put. Have we got? Yeah, that's got Intel mounts on it now.
The Secu mounts are also over there.
Yeah. Oh, that's grand. Yeah, let's stick that on it, and we'll air cool it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Cool. Okay. Decision made. What happened to the PC that blew up? Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah. So the PC that blew up that got posted in a video yesterday. It has been left with the shop as a write-off. Which means I will actually be doing a follow-up video on that one because there were loads of people who were just like, "Oh, you could have fixed that," and also people who were just like, "Oh, I know that it's not economical to fix it, but what is it worth looking at it for science?" And the answer to that is yes, actually. Normally in these situations, customers tend to just come and pick up the computer, and they can do whatever they want with it. But in this instance, as soon as I called up the customer and said, yeah, it's dead, you need to get a new one, and they basically turned around and said, cool, can you put it in a skip for me?
Did you also sell them a new one?
They already had something else new, and they were kind of a bit vague about what they were doing next. So I was, I'm going to support that just so you can, yeah, not 100% certain what direction they're going in next. So don't know is the answer to that. I think they were looking at laptops and stuff like that. Anyway, I have the old blown up computer and it's mine to do with as I see fit. So I will actually be doing at least an autopsy. Shush. I will be doing at least an autopsy on it, and I will be investigating to see, oh, can you, the things. I'll be looking at it and investigating to see just at least how plausible repairs are. Because I've got some old computers that are of similar age that will have...
There.
I've got some old computers of similar age that will probably have similar MOSFETs in it. So I might have a donor computer where I can steal the MOSFETs out of that and rebuild the VRMs, which would be a good video to do. It would be interesting. I've attempted to do that on another board before and failed. It would be interesting to see if I succeeded this time, and also if it just explodes again when I do. But if nothing else, at least I can demonstrate how rebuilding a VRM is not necessarily as easy as just replacing the MOSFETs. So yes, catching up with stuff. Hello, Katrina. How you doing? That's a surprising amount of shirts. It's not brutally hot. I'm just perpetually cold. So yeah, that's my disposition. Ben Laird, thank you very much for the $5. Hi, all from Scotland. Hello, Scotland. All white.
All white?
All white. That's what she said. All white.
Oh. Sorry, I thought you were saying that in response to Hello, Scotland.
Yeah, well, do you think I was sort of pretending I was in Leeds shouting over Hadrian's Wall or something? You know. So the low amount. Oh, true, yes. Yes, I am indeed down to 1 layer, so yeah, that's fair enough. A8 or A10? No, it was an E2. An E2 3200.
Sold purely in Yorkshire.
Yeah.
E.
Yeah, so like when I said on the video, maybe it's an A10, an A8 or an A10. Oh, no, it was not. It was the bad option. It was the lowest one that it could have been. So yes, sad face.
Are they still on the FM2 socket?
It was FM1.
Oh.
This motherboard.
Oh no.
So yeah, I was in the right ballpark when I did a look at it, and I said that's probably an FM2. So I wasn't far off the mark. It was just a bit older than that. But yeah, it was FM1. But yeah, still interesting because production FM1 systems are not that common. But yeah, that does come out the back. Yes, it just needs some finagling.
Oh, the side. Yes, not out here.
Yes, yes. And, yeah.
That's what I was looking at. I was like, which direction are you required to move in?
Yeah.
But yes.
Right.
I understand now.
I understand this communication in English. I'm going to...
This comment is not written in English.
Call back to a conversation that we had offline that no one else will understand and I can't be bothered to explain. Because we'll just end up having the same conversation that we had before we went live.
Be gone.
Let's see. Probably have a good compatible MOSFET on a junk motherboard, so it wouldn't cost anything other than a bit of time. Yeah, I agree, Mr. Guru. Yeah. Like initially, my initial response was no, absolutely not. But also, since it's going to be left here, and a lot of people have been like, I think mainly just because I was initially resistant to the idea because I was anticipating and did get a bunch of people going, oh no, you could replace that MOSFET, and oh, you could put an SSD in that and it'd be a great NAS. It's like, no,
it would not.
Just no, do not. Absolutely not. However, there were a decent number of people who were just like, yes, but what if it was a good computer? What then? And I'm like, okay, that's a better, that's fair. This is worth investigating. So yeah. Even if you fix the MOBO, you may need a working CPU if that one got fried. Yeah, possibly. And that's a good point, actually. I don't have an FM.
Ow!
I don't have any FM stuff. So if we did explode the CPU, then we're done. I'll probably have I need to do a viability check. I'll start recording a video as an autopsy first, where we'll just have a look at it and just check what the extent of the damage is, because I don't think it'll be particularly difficult to check if the CPU is cactus or not. I think that MOSFET will be shorted down to its ground pad if it has one, and I think it will have one, because I can't imagine that it shorted through the CPU. Could it catch fire if it shorted through the CPU? No, surely not, because it's got at least 1.5 ohms of resistance there, maybe 2 ohms of resistance. But then on the flip side, if you're pumping 500 watts into it, yeah, the older the CPU, the less likely dead CPU becomes after a high side short. Yeah, I don't think the CPU will be dead. And I think it'll be... what I'll do is I'll take the good MOSFET off first and have a look if it's got a ground pad. Because if there's a ground pad under there, then the dead CPU was probably shorted down to ground. And in which case, there's a very good chance that the CPU is completely fine. How would a high side MOSFET shorting raise voltage in the low side? Yeah, well, that's the thing is the high side doesn't need a path to ground, but it might have a ground pad anyway, just because it's a power MOSFET, and those tend to have ground pads regardless.
Ah.
So, yeah. Replace MOSFET, then check voltages on the output. Yeah. Oh, you've been bitten. That's unfortunate.
I was doing that and I was like, why is my thumb itchy?
Very well. The pact is sealed.
I managed to make myself bleed on a heatsink.
Yeah, that'll happen. Yeah. Very good. Let's see. Jim says, I made a data recovery machine using an old Thermaltake Docker case. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can't... I recognise the name of that, but I can't remember it. Are you wondering why there's paper on the back? It's there because it reduces the amount of... The LEDs for the audio circuit are on the back of the motherboard, and by putting that paper there, I increased the amount of shine through. So the LEDs are brighter. Cowdog was very confused as to why there was paper taped to the back of this motherboard.
I thought you were going to tell me it had some issue shorting out against some case or something.
It's suddenly... Oh, good. It was I heard the sound of something turning off over there and thought that the computer had just cut out. It suddenly occurred to me, you know how we were just like, oh, black out this? This motherboard is RGB'd out the wazoo, so I'm kind of swinging back toward RGBing. We'll see. We can always switch off the RGB, I guess. That would be a crime on this motherboard. But yeah, I really like this motherboard. But then I really like RGB. Anyway. White or green? I'm not a fan of green RGB, if I'm honest. But yeah, we'll have a look. Oh, I might fit the fans anyway, just as modern fans, and we'll just see how we feel. Okay, I have gone off topic. GPU prices are down. GPU prices are looking good at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm amazed.
I saw a 3080 Ti for £900.
Yeah, and there was that one chap on the Discord who posted a link to a 3080 non-Ti? A chap posted a link to a 3080 non-Ti, I think, for like £860, and said, "Oh, I've just bought this. I'm waiting for it to arrive." And it was from like a no-name website, and we were like, let us know how that goes. But he came back this week and said, "Oh yeah, the 3080 showed up," and we were just like, "Oh, 3080 for 860 quid, sure."
3080 Ti.
Was it a Ti?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Are you well? Do you need medical assistance?
Danger. No, it's fine. I just have to wait a bit.
Yeah, fine. Cool.
I just went to wash it off.
Yes, I was like, oh.
To save me smothering it everywhere.
Yes, fair enough. Because sometimes you get a little nick and you just start bleeding on everything, and you're like, I have to deal with this not because my life is in danger, but because I'm just making a mess.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's very inconvenient, all of this blood.
I presume we can't take the mount thing off of the AIO that we took out of this one and use on the other one because they're different types.
They're different types, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This one has a really oddball.
Oh yeah. It's that one.
This one's got a really oddball mount on it. The Corsair, I think they only used it for like a single generation.
Yeah, because that's like a first gen one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very early at the very least. I think, yeah, actually, I think it goes that one in there where you had the round pump with just a flat face on it. Then it was that one. Then it was this one, and then it moved to the modern ones. I understand that all of this, that one and this one is worthless, but do you need to cough or something? Yeah.
There we go.
Are you well? Anyway, it's the cider countdown. I guess almost because we're draining the coffee. Okay, right. Band-Aid. I should probably have a first aid kit.
Yes.
Black UV light is the only cool option for that build. You know, I used to run a UV build, and I think UV builds are super cool, and no one does it anymore, actually.
Yeah, because you can't get the spiral PATA cables. That's what you need.
I mean, yeah, kind of. Part of me
UV reactive cables.
Yeah. I would kind of like to do a UV build again at some point. The problem is, you can't get. I doubt you can get UV LED strips. So if you did a UV build, you'd probably be stuck using cold cathodes or something. And cold cathodes suck. They just suck.
The USB, the UVA and the B ones are all right.
Not cold cath. Well, they're okay.
The tubes, yeah, they're a couple
cold
of hundred
cathodes
watts.
were always bad, and LEDs are just so superior. But I don't think you'll find UV LED strips. So make a UVC build. Oh no, forbidden RGB.
Why is my leg crispy?
Why does it smell of bacon in here? Right. Hans Perlin says, I had one of those X1000s. You'll probably need some cable extensions. Yeah, I mentioned this before we went live. I'm expecting to have some problems with cable reach. Some of that we might not be able to resolve on stream today. I'm anticipating some wires that we have to be like, okay, this is just stretching across the case. We'll find an extension for this off stream. So UV LED strips exist. Oh, okay, fair enough. I haven't looked for them, admittedly, so... Okay, right. Okay, what are we going to do with this? So I suppose we'll just... shall we lay this down? Shall I get the bench cam? I think yes.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to lay this down and get the bench cam. Because building vertically kind of sucks. And if we do anything else, just no one can see what we're doing. So yeah, one memento. I quite like the setup we've got going here. You know, we do have to move things about a lot, but we've kind of got things into a setup now where it's really quick and easy to move things about.
Yeah,
so
that's the main thing.
So when I'm just like, oh, we need the bench cam, I can just grab the bench cam. It's on a really long cable, so I can just carry it over here and just clamp it to the desk.
You know how you were saying about, oh yes, we'll just take that and put the computer in there. Talking about decasing it and moving it across.
Oh, right, yeah.
You can't just put the case inside the case.
I'm going to take his case off. It is astonishing how the dimensions are almost identical except for the height. I still think that's amazing. I'm just surprised that I've never heard of this case before seeing it now. Because it is just... this case just felt like it really was ahead of its time. I think that's why I find this one so interesting. If it was like a big, deep Lian Li, I don't think I would care about it. I think I'm so fixated on this one because it's such a out of time case.
Are you going to top mount the hard drives? So they are near the optical drive, which will have the SATA chain going to it and stuff anyway. Also, I'm going to move that way down the desk now.
Yes. I'm going to try and shuffle all of this down. All right. Does that work? That works.
Yeah, if you want to take that, if you want to pass me that stuff, I can put it on this side.
Hand you a couple of bits. Whoop.
Banjo.
Banjo. Okay. Right, and
there you go.
oh, right. Let's see. Monolithic almost. It is. And for today's stream, Graham gets a tall boy. He sure does. Right. Okay. Bench cam? Yes, bench cam. Just about comes off. I'll adjust the bench cam in a sec. Caradog is currently inspecting the bottom.
There we go.
Yeah. Caradog's currently inspecting the bottom. We can
I was just trying to
fan
work
up
out
on
how
that.
this works.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Have we got front dust mounts on the dust filters? Yes, we do.
Yes, the
yeah.
dust filters also require you to undo these, lift all of this out, unclip it.
Yeah.
It has it, but you're not really supposed to.
Yeah. I think let's adjust this camera so it's actually looking at something useful. Right. I'm going to put this to 90-degree FOV in a minute. Oh, I think it already is actually. There we go. All right, is that at 90 degrees? 4K stream. Yeah, it is. Cool. And focus. There we go. Bottom Inspector Caradog. Right, there we go. Let's see. Catching up with stuff. You can run NASPlex, Mac or Win Linux all at the same time. You can run it with Proxmox. I had toyed with the idea of doing something along those lines or running a multi-setup. I again haven't decided yet. Not going to do anything about that right now, but I am thinking about that kind of thing and turning this into a this does everything PC. So yeah, it's a thought.
You'll need to fan side down this.
Yeah.
Because of obviously the side the cable comes out of.
I was going to say I think we'll fan side down this one to put the cables at the back of the case.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not unreasonable. Although that much being said, can we run any cables behind the tray? I don't think we can. Because there's no gap there. They've all got to come up through here.
Yeah, and we want them at the back of the case to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I think we're going to be running everything up this bit here and potentially zip tying everything down so we get a nice neat loom coming up the side.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where the cable length will kill us because I don't think we'll have the cable length to make the loom look good. I think this is going to end up looking. It will attach to this and then slide in. Yeah.
I was just making sure it did actually slide.
Yeah.
But yeah. But instead of having to faff with the cables now,
I agree.
You can just screw the plate on and then screw the plate on.
I'm going to grab an electric boy.
You can screw the screw to the screws.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this is going to end up looking a little bit scruffy today, and I'm going to need to buy some extensions and some other accessories to finish it off.
Whoop. I presume there were no other accessories in the box.
And what's there?
These. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is screws.
What have we got there? Is that just screws?
It was the screws.
Fair enough.
Plus also...
Is there anything there that we'd actually want to use? Because, oh yeah, it had the really cool screw box, didn't it? Yeah, that's so cool that it comes with that.
But then it comes with a bag of other screws.
Yeah. If we can help it, I'd like to keep all of this intact. Possibly repackage it into a smaller box and just zip tie it somewhere in the side of the case. Because what I try to do, if I can help it, is I try not to use the accessories that came with the case if I have the spares already on hand, because then I can keep everything as it is, hide it somewhere in the case, and it means that a future builder will have a brand new set of accessories if they need it.
Yeah. Which is obviously super relevant when you're building to sell.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, when you. Yeah,
because like a lot of cases these days, the accessories come in a little box that's usually in one of the hard drive trays, and I just leave it there. And I just leave it there with all the accessories in, and I use my own screws for everything because I've got millions of them. So, okay, right. I'm going to try and catch up on chat a little bit. These cases were the thing at one time. The style certainly was. Yeah. Combo of black metal, and yeah, I love the contrast in this. Yeah, I agree with that. Build for go, not for show. Well, I like both, and there is room for both. However, the primary objective for this one is Go. Yeah. So. Okay. This case is Graham's alter ego, tall, skinny, black, and metal. This would be an expensive case today. It was in its day. Last week, someone reckoned that the original MSRP on this was £300, and that's still expensive by today's standards. You know, these days, if you're charging £300 for a case, it better be that's a Halo price for a case, unless you're buying something that is like made in single quantities. So, like tech showcases will obviously cost a lot, but like actual production cases, 300 would be an awful lot. Some of the most expensive cases that have come around recently have been stuff like the Fractal Torrent RGB that I have, and that guy was like £200, which is a lot for a case. Be worth about 400 quid in today's money. If you can find a buyer for it. Before we went live last week, when we were going to show this thing off, Caradog actually said, before you unseal that, are you sure you want to unseal it? If you're potentially going to sell it, would it not be better to sell it as a sealed case? But I had a look, and we couldn't find any of them on eBay. We found like one that was at starting bid, so it was very difficult to actually gauge what the value of this case was. So I've no doubt that this thing is worth a fortune to someone who really wants one, but that's the problem, is finding someone who really wants one. So from that perspective, I was like, no, I'm not interested in preserving this. I'm going to take it out of the box, and I'm going to put a computer in it, and I'm going to put it on a desk and use it. Because like when it comes to toys and stuff like that, I'm a big believer in it, in the idea of unless it's something that you're actually about to flip for a small fortune, no, get it out the box and use it. Actually give it purpose, you know. So yeah, not quite as bad as the SC750 that got thrown out. Oh, big time. I think people were a bit upset about that, if I'm honest, Spud. While I was not super attached to that case, I know that a lot of people were like, "Ah!" when you said that it went into the skip. That was a bit of a shame. You're here for the ignition. Oh man. I say ignition. I say that a lot because when I say and ignition when turning on a computer, I'm talking about like the way that for a car, you turn the key, accessory, and then okay, ignition, start the car. That's what I meant when I said and ignition to turn on the case. And at this point, I have to be like, I swear to God, I didn't know that was going to happen, because you wouldn't realize. How does it feel to blow up MOSFETs? Yeah.
Makes me feel powerful.
Oh, it's not the first time I've had fire. Like when you do this job now, stuff does catch fire. It's really uncommon to actually catch it on video. A lot of the time, stuff like that will happen when you've got it at a weird angle because something has touched that shouldn't have, and you'll suddenly get a massive spark or something like that. But it will always happen when there's no clear shot of it. It was actually really good that even though the camera was at a slight angle, I did actually get an amazing shot of the actual moment. It was really good because when I did the slow-mo replay, you could actually see the glow from the MOSFET and everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a YouTube short of it this week, and I'll actually get in a proper glorious slow-mo bit of it. Cool. Right, do you want me to put this on the floor so you've got room to deal with that? I'm going to put this on the floor so you've got room to deal with that. I don't want to lay this on its back because pristine aluminium.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not normally precious about things, but one of my biggest regrets, one of the biggest sadnesses I have about my Cooler Master is that it's just covered with small dinks and scratches. But also, it's that case is 15, 16 years old. So of course, it's been used. So it's not going to be pristine, but it makes me sad seeing all of the little nicks and scratches on it. That should just slide off. Yeah. Cool. So this computer currently has the Z97 Sabertooth in it, and it also has Caradog's NHD15. Is it an NHD15?
I can't remember.
I don't know my Noctuas at all.
D15.
Yeah, it has a big Noctua in it, and we're going to steal this Noctua because we don't have a suitable water cooler for this build. Right, scrolling down from the top. Plugging the wrong LCD into a laptop can make a nice LCD harness fire. Ooh, I can imagine that being a thing. Could have been worse, at least you dusted first. Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to if dust would catch fire catastrophically under that scenario. It is an interesting point that people brought up. You know, could that actually have been a house fire scenario? You know, could that have been a house fire waiting to happen? You know, could the MOSFET have degraded in such a way that the power supply's overcurrent didn't kick in and it actually burn out, set fire to the dust, which would have been enough kindling to actually start a proper fire? Because a lot of the time, when a component blows out, because it's in a metal box, there's not enough to actually start a sustainable fire. You know, I've had computers where something has caught fire inside the system and there's soot and smoke marks all over the inside of the computer, but because it's a metal box, it wasn't enough to actually set the entire computer ablaze. So it actually takes quite a lot to do that, but I wonder if those dust bunnies would have been enough, or if those dust bunnies would have just gone and been gone, you know. So yeah. Let's see, does this thing have a model number written on it? No.
Probably not.
It just has the Noctua Owl. The Noctowl. Air cooling, the build keeps improving. Rude. I like AIOs. Makes sense when you have that much space for it. Just about. We've got tallness, but we don't have a lot of width or depth. But yeah, I like AIOs. I'm a big fan of them. However, I don't want this case. We noted last week that this case doesn't have rails for 120mm fans. So we would have to really bodge mount a 240mm AIO on this. So we're just going to stick this air cooler in it. So yeah. Dust bunny fires up the wires. Yeah, maybe. How long would the MOSFET burn? I'm not sure. I don't think it would have burnt for that much longer, if I'm honest, because it's going to just blow itself open at some point. As soon as the MOSFET blows open, the short circuit disappears and the fire will just be gone because there's not enough voltage there to sustain an arc. So yeah, as soon as it actually burns open, that would have been the end of it, and that probably only would have taken a couple of seconds. But like, if I actually time it, I probably pulled out that cable in less than 3 seconds. So looks like one of the D15 towers. Let's double check. Bench cam?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is a D15. But yeah, that's what we've got. And it has a A15 fan that goes in the middle. So yeah, don't know if anyone can get enough from it from that view. But yes, it's a big boy. Whoop. Oops. About 8 seconds tops, you guys reckon? That's fair. Dust bunny of tar cigs. Ooh, yeah. Could see that being a thing. Yeah. Right. Okay. Right. So we're gonna want to mount that up to the motherboard before we put it in the case, aren't we? So where did I? There it is.
It's there.
I'll just get some thermal paste cleaning equipment. Ugh. Nearly through the MX5. I can nearly start using MX4 again and not have the goop. Right.
Fine.
Ugh, be that way.
Goodbye.
Here we go. Bench cam. Hello. You love MX5? It's just better. I don't like how goopy it is. It's so hard not to make a mess with it. And also, didn't everyone decide that it was really bollocks and separates and just doesn't last very long or something? I thought we decided we didn't like MX5. Like, I think it does perform better, but I thought we decided that it wasn't as stable as MX4. I'm sure we had a conversation about that on the podcast at some point. Very easy to do. Get some dust bunnies and light it with a match. Watch what happens. You know, I might see if I can do that before the autopsy video. Because one of the main purposes of that autopsy video will just be to address questions in the comments. Because, like, the video is performing well at the moment, and I didn't clickbait the thumbnail because I wanted it to be a surprise for the subscribers. Because a lot of the subscribers say that they appreciate me not putting spoilers in the title and stuff, so they get the same surprise and discovery that I get. Have you put the wrong mounts on that, or is it just me?
Right. How are the mounts? What's wrong with the mounts?
Oh, I see. That's not a... Yeah, that's a screw with an insert on it. Yeah. Because I saw the screw sticking up from there, I was like, how does that work with that? But now I understand how that works. It's fine. I wasn't attacking. I was just confused.
It's got an hole in it, and you stick the peg in the hole.
I bet you do. So anyway, so yes. What? You set that up? You set that up. Don't look at me like that.
Don't you look at me in that tone of voice.
Anyway, I'm probably going to clickbait that video this week and do a YouTube short for it and stuff like that, and just get that sweet, sweet clickbait. Because at the end of the day, I can put fire in the thumbnail and everyone will watch the video and I'll get lots of views. So I'm probably going to do that this week, and there'll probably be more comments. So I want the autopsy video to actually address all of the serious questions and be like, okay, what actually happened here? And people are, because where people are just like, oh, house fire waiting to happen. I don't know. Was it? Let's find out. I'll need to see, like, I don't have any dusty computers in here at the moment, but with a bit of luck, something dusty might come along and I can just quickly hook one of the dust bunnies out of it and go, this is what dust actually looks like if it starts burning. This is what you could expect if this had been in that situation, maybe. So, yeah.
Offer to clean Andy's computer.
Yeah. Get a container, visit lots of friends over the next week and collect the dust from their PCs. Oh, God. Imagine
That's what I'm saying. Go offer to clean Andy's computer.
Just imagine going around all your friends' houses going, hello, I've come to collect your dust. Have you got any dust? I need some dust. I'm going to put it in my box here.
And I wish to do science on your dust.
What's the best motherboard to get now? You're looking to upgrade your gaming PC. Well, what CPU have you got, Justin Nightingale? What CPU have you got, or what CPU are you planning to get? Do you have any kind of budget in mind? Because a motherboard can cost anything from 50 quid to £2,000. So that's kind of a broad question, but let us know what CPU you've got and what kind of money you're looking to spend, and I'm sure we could suggest a suitable motherboard that's in that kind of category. If you want, you know, like, I would expect to spend somewhere between £150 and £200, or $150 to $200, because it's about parity. So about $150 to $200 to get a decent motherboard. But you can also easily spend $300 to get a high-end motherboard, or infinitely more to get a crazy motherboard. But likewise, if you're like, oh, I don't have that much money, there are cheap options out there as well, so we can make suggestions. Evac or air compressor? So far, I've been. Oh bloody! My throat's clogged up. One sec.
Please
Actually, need a glass of water.
Please do not die. Do not become the deceased. Wait, eh? There we go. There was a cough. Still breathing. Excellent. Danger. Do you require medical assistance?
It had been a long time coming. For the past half an hour, I've had a tickle in my throat that I've been suppressing, and it got to the point there where I was just like, no, I need to deal with this. Right, where was I?
I must cough, but I have no mouth.
Yes. What was I about to say? Oh yeah, I've been singing the praises of the electric blowers to Caradog before we started. I'm really impressed by them, and obviously an air compressor has more utility because you can use an air compressor to run air tools and inflate stuff and inflate your car tires and that kind of thing, because it can attain much higher pressures. So I think there's value in an air compressor, but if your only purpose is just to dust out computers, I think these electric blowers are actually a very good option. I don't like the data vac. I think it's unergonomic as hell. It's my least favorite out of the two I've got. The other one I've got is looks more like a hairdryer and is so much more comfortable to use by a long shot. However, there's more of that coming in the review. But on a conceptual level,
You want to go right.
Whoop.
There you go.
On a conceptual level, though, I think they're great. I'm 100% sold on using them to dust out computers.
Do you want the second fan?
On the back of it. I'm not particularly fussed. We could put it on there if you want for the sake of completeness.
No, I mean, as we proved, because
doesn't make a meaningful difference.
We went YOLO, you can Cinebench on that CPU with no fan connected.
Yeah.
And you can do a multi-core render on that and not get above like 70.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that'll do.
Oh, do we need standoffs or
we will require?
Yeah, some standoffs need to move. That guy's missing.
That one.
That guy's missing.
And also the top there appears to be missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Are we moving or do we need extras? Yeah, we need 3 extras. So what happened to the accessory box? Yeah, because they'll be in the accessorize pack. Air compressor can end up spraying water as well. That's why you need to drain your air compressor tank regularly, which I have to admit, for a very long time, I was very bad at doing. But yeah, you should set up your air compressor in such a way that you can drain the tank periodically to keep the water out of it, because that'll mess up your air compressor anyway. My air compressor is in a very poor state of repair. Oh, there's only 2 extra. There are really only 2 extra standoffs in here? Yeah. That's very unusual. There's just 2 standoffs. That's it. That's all she wrote. So, let's see. Who are we going to miss out in terms of standoffs? Which one is the least important?
Probably this one.
Yeah, I was about to point to the same one. I'm going to grab a nut driver so we can screw those in properly.
Yes. These will all require driving as they are loose.
Ah, there it is. Is this the right size?
Also, I'm doing that thing where you fumble with a screw. And everyone watches you fumbling with a screw. And therefore goes, will you become competent, please?
Please stop failing.
Yes. That will require a little bit of oomph, I feel.
Yes. I'd like to tighten these correctly because
you don't want the motherboard falling out?
Yeah, well, also like when you put in standoffs, you want to make sure they're in firmly and you don't cross thread them or strip anything.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to do it right, do it once kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got the correct size one. I'm just going to see. I think this guy's going to be wildly too big. Yeah, not a chance. Yeah, we'll have to use this one. And in fact, I think I'm just going to use some pliers just to tweak those up. All right, I shall use the too small one to do the worst of it. I'll let you finish that off.
That one needs substantial driving.
Oh, that's annoyingly tight, isn't it?
Yeah. Because it feels like you're actually somewhat needing to...
Yeah, it's not very well tapped, that hole. There we go.
Oh, is it too short?
It's not. It's one size too small.
Oh, I see.
So it's just resting on the top of it. There we go.
Also, it has got an awful lot of holes for standoffs.
Motherboards went through cases went through a phase of just having holes everywhere, and then a lot of gaming cases now just don't have all of the extra holes because they all sort of came to that conclusion of no one ever uses these, so we're just going to stop bothering to drill them.
Yeah.
And in 99% of cases, that's fine until you have a weird motherboard.
Yeah, it does feel like motherboards somewhat more standardized on the screws.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, in goes the Mobo.
It's possibly one of the nicest sitting ones.
Quentin Stevens says, I remember cleaning PCs at the fire brigade. High dust environment, used one of the tanks from a breathing apparatus. Yeah, that's definitely not overkill.
That's great.
You take your PC apart every 5 years to clean it out. Either your PC gets really, really dirty or you just happen to have a really low dust room. Better attach PCI cables on top of the Mobo before mounting the Mobo.
Oh shit, yeah, there's no friggin' hole. I would like to see you get your hands in, to stick that in there, because also where the hell are we running that cable?
Yeah. Have we got any screw? Can you just stick like, can you just put a screw in each corner? Oh yeah, thanks.
You, the one standing in
All right,
front of the computer.
You're in charge of the chat for a sec.
Yes.
These screws are the wrong thread. I think we need metrics.
Yeah, I just used the same ones as for the Lian Li. It
So
was
I'm
like,
just gonna get the
are these the
metrics.
correct ones?
Ah.
It's okay, you can use these thumb screws.
Oh god.
Like that one video that one person posted.
That was not. I looked at that properly.
Have you actually watched it?
Yeah, I've actually watched it now, including the one where I was like, oh, the first one didn't look so bad. I had not seen enough of it. When I actually saw it properly, I was like, oh god, what happened? Why would you do this?
Yeah.
What person thought that was acceptable?
Yeah. It was like some of the stuff they were taking issue with. I was just like, that seems entirely normal things to do for your own computer.
Mm-hmm.
But then if they bought those computers built like that, then yes, it's a problem.
It wasn't entirely clear whether they were built by another system builder or whether they were just DIY jobs that hadn't really gone very well.
Yeah.
So, right, so now the motherboard is in place. I'm just going to do some test fitting of the cables. So firstly, where's my EPS cable? It's in my hand.
Yes.
So let's just do a test run to see where we're going with this guy. Right.
I feel like
that will not
need
do
to
that.
go up the motherboard.
Yeah, I think we're going up the motherboard with this for now. I think I'm going to buy some extensions for this. How about the ATX? Because at the moment it's a question of, do I need to extend like 1 or 2 cables, or do I want to get a full set of extensions for this? I'm just going to go under that one. There we go. Let's get that guy through. And sorry for scraping noises and stuff like that. Kind of unavoidable.
As Pete says, with all the holes for standoffs, I'd laugh if someone opened up a build in one of these cases and there was an ITX motherboard in there.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. Occasionally stuff like that, I'm just like, I kind of like the idea of just having very silly builds like that.
Yeah.
Just like absolutely massive cases. Or like the Obsidian 1000D. It's like this deep and like this tall, and having just using an ITX build in the main part.
Yeah.
Because it's that case that's the dual chamber one where you can put an ITX build at the top and an ATX build underneath, and you move the ITX build just into the main part, and that's it. No GPU, no hard drives, just a motherboard. Onboard graphics.
Right. Okay. The ATX is okay. That's going to be all right. We can shape that and position that and zip tie it down in a aesthetically pleasing manner.
Just keep out the way.
So our CPU extension is the main issue. I'm trying to think if I've got one laying around. I'm just going to have a quick look in the box over here.
I'd kind of half expect you to, just because it's not something you'd ordinarily use.
Yeah, exactly. When I put braided extensions in other computers, I generally don't fit the EPS extension.
Just because you can't see most of the EPS cables.
So normally. I'm just going to have a quick check of the extensions I've got and see if any of them are fit for purpose. For example, you...
Oh no. I have concerns.
Oh, that is PCI. I think both of these are PCI. Oh, that's EPS. Yeah, here's an EPS extension. It's not a very long one, but it might just be long enough.
Yeah.
So, yep, I've got I'm just going to get the PCI Express one, actually, just to point out to people how to check.
And the fact that they are different.
Yeah. So, technically, because an extension is just a pin-to-pin extension, the pinning is completely irrelevant because the top right pin here goes to the top right pin here. So you technically can't blow anything up. However, on a PCI, let's adjust focus. Where's the mouse pointer? Ooh. Boink. Whoop. We've got no light here at all. This is... There we go, there it is. So can you see that the two top right pins are bridged by plastic?
That is not meaningfully better.
Nope. the two top right pins have got a bridge of plastic. Hang on, oh my God, I'm going to grab my torch. This is what happens when you don't have bench lights. I had the torch this morning. Oh my God, fine, I'll use my phone then. Bloody heck, mate. Bloody Nora, can't find the equipment. All right, there we go. Right.
No, can't instantly see that. Whatever.
Notice how the top right pins are connected with a bridge of plastic. That's PCI Express. That's the 8-pin for a graphics card. Whereas on this, being an EPS cable, firstly, notice how the connector splits in the middle so it can do 4+4, but the top right pins are not bridged together. That's how you tell the difference. So this one is intended to be an EPS cable. Now, again, because these are pin-to-pin extensions, it technically doesn't matter. And if one was so inclined, you could just bodge these to fit. You could just get in there with a little file and just file out the bridge, which technically you could do if you're bodging, but be very, very careful when bodging cables, or better still, don't bodge cables. If you know what you're doing, you'll already know this. If you don't know this, don't bodge cables, because that means you're not, if you see what I mean. Anyway, I have an EPS extension. So if I run that up to... So now we can run that up to there, and then I can run across the top, and we now have the length that we need.
So looking good.
Yeah. This isn't exactly good for aesthetics for the braided aspect, but it basically means that I don't have to run this across the motherboard, which is what I don't want. So... I might zip tie these braids together.
Yeah.
Right, and that's going to go up there.
As Spud says, hopefully not from personal experience, that it's possible to jam the EPS connector into a PCIe connector.
Yeah.
Even though the actual keying of the pins is different, because the pins are different shapes.
Yeah, it is possible.
The square and loopy bit.
You can jam those in.
Yes.
Yeah, and I feel like Spud has definitely seen this before because on workstation class stuff, it's very common to see like workstation graphics cards with EPS connectors on them, not PCI Express 8-pin. PCI Express 8-pin and EPS is not the same pin out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though they both do 12 volt and 0 volt, it's not the same pin out. This is taxing. Yeah, we might need to lift the motherboard, plug this in, and drop the motherboard. In fact, I'm going to do that because by the time I've messed about the amount of time it will take me to thread this in and get my hand down there, I could have just taken the motherboard out.
Given that it's only 2 screws as well.
Exactly. This is exactly what they said. What chat said we should do. That's a very pleasing fit, that power supply, isn't it? The way it sits on that little stand.
Oh, and it is almost precisely the same length. Yeah, very good.
Down here, just the exact way this just sits on that little pedestal is just very pleasing. Could you do me a favor and just bring one of the other lights over and just have it pointing into the computer or something? Because I'm not super happy about the lack of light that we've got at the moment. Thanks. That one will just unplug from under the bench. Or, oh, it looks like it'll reach, actually. Yeah. We just need something just pointing down here, really, because there's not a lot of light and it's bothering me.
Laptop.
Okay. That's probably better. Is that better? It looks nicer. Right. Okay. So I'm going to lift this up and support it. Plug that in there. The light is being moved to a different socket.
Now it's less of a trip hazard, although, no. We're going under here.
Oh my god, Caradog, make up your mind.
Well, yes, indeed.
All right. Yes, Spud says it's caught him out before. Yeah. Let's see. Hello, Piano. How's it going? How is your Saturday going? Whoop. Okay, right. I'm gonna replug this.
Oh no, we're out of cider.
Oh yeah, I was going to say I thought there were another 2 in there. I had the best idea ever in the history of ideas. Someone in the comments of last week's podcast said, someone in the comments said, oh, you guys should get some pint glasses so you can drink from those and we can see the colour of the drink and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh yeah, I probably could do that. And then it suddenly occurred to me that we get custom pint glasses, yours and mine, with these 2 faces etched on them.
No.
Come on, that's a brilliant idea and you know it. It's probably not even expensive. Like, just get someone to just like trace over the line art for this.
Branded.
Okay, yeah, you've scratched the you just branded yours. Fair enough. Yep. I understand that I'm the problem here. However, still, but yeah, custom engraved pint glasses with our faces on them. I support this idea. Chat, do you support this idea?
We just have to start drinking something worth putting in pint glasses.
I mean, kind of. Stowford is fine.
Yeah, but taking this out of a can and putting it into a glass seems somewhat superfluous and unnecessary.
True. Still, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm not getting a lot of support from the chat here.
I have screws going into your speakers. Do not!
Right, okay, I'm going to actually get this all sorted now. So that's going to push back to there. So we're going to get this laying down, and then we're gonna loom that up along there. So that's going to happen. Okay, right, that's plugged in. Let's get some more screws in this. I'm going to fish some out of the box.
Yeah.
Try and find some nice matching ones.
I feel like it's something like that where we should have the custom glasses, but yes, only for special occasions or something. For special drinks.
Maybe. I mean, yeah.
Or just, get shot glasses.
What? Just drink shots of cider out of the can?
No. Well, no. Just, more like, schnapps or something.
I mean, now we just... I feel like that... How to phrase this? I feel like we're a little bit more classy than just drinking on stream. Like we're having a drink while we have some bands. But if we're like enjoying schnapps and doing shots, I feel like we've turned into a different kind of program. So Graham likes doing the dishes, I assume. You've got a very good point there. I am a big believer in reduce the amount of washing up so there's less to do. But pint glasses are really quick and easy to wash up, so I don't mind that so much. Found Graham a glass. Uh-oh.
Excellent.
Right, that guy. Whoops.
Are you going all black for the screws?
Of course.
I didn't know if you were fishing out special silver ones to match the tray.
That would have worked, actually. Silver screws would look nice. I tell you what I have got, which I haven't found a use for yet.
Have you got some blue ones?
No, I think they're in the Imperial tray. I've got a really nice set of hex bolt screws.
Oh right.
Which I'm just waiting for. I'm waiting for the build where you'd actually bother putting nice hex bolt screws on everything. But I don't know if that's actually ever going to happen. Because, like, if any build would have been it would have been the Torrent. But I haven't bothered putting them in the Torrent because I don't think it's worthwhile.
Which arguably suggests you don't think it's worthwhile, full stop.
Yeah. I tell you what, I do it on the bare bones build that I was talking about. That I was saying to Caradog before the chat. The next computer I build, I'm going to do on a vertical bare bones case where it's basically it's just a vertical frame with a motherboard on it and a power supply and the graphics card. And obviously your cooling system. That's it. Just open case. That one I would bother putting lovely hex bolts on everything because you'll actually see them. Because, whereas like I didn't put them on the Fractal because you don't spot the screws in a case that's this big. You know, that's not what you're looking at. Whereas on a tiny little frame case like that,
oh no!
Right, the motherboard is screwed in. Okay, so we're going to put. I think we're going to put our. I'm tempted. What? Hard drive's down here, I think.
No, sigh.
Okay. What? Where did he DM it to you, or is it an exclusive?
It's an exclusive.
Okay, hold on, Seth. I want to look at this.
Also, I dribbled.
Dirty boy. Yes. Yes, man. 25 quid. Oh, hang on a sec. Oh, the glass isn't 25 quid. Just a custom one is. Yeah. Oh, picture perfect. I wouldn't want a photo. It'd have to be laser etched, not just a photo print.
It needs to look classy, after all.
Yeah.
When it's...
Yes. However, I approve of the pint glass. I'm also just... I find it hilarious that it's a pint glass as well and not just a generic tumbler. Mm.
I mean, it probably came from just a generic tumbler.
Maybe.
Hey.
I see what you did there. Okay, right, focus. Focus.
Yes.
Hard drives are going down the bottom.
Okay.
Just so they're a bit more accessible. And we need...
I was going to say, why do you need these hard drives to be accessible when these are the ones that you're not taking out?
That's true, but also we don't have
how the hell are you going to run SATA power up to here?
Exactly. I was about to say we also don't have SATA data cables long enough. Like we've got one long SATA data cable that is going to go up to our DVD drive or Blu-ray drive. But I think the rest of them we're going to put down low just for cable length issues.
Yeah.
And also it keeps the center of gravity lower in the computer as well, which is always nice. Just so there's less tippage. That's going to be our graphics power.
GPU.
So we'll stick that guy down there. I have to figure out how to hide him best. I guess that's going to plug in, and then we'll push the excess down there, so that'll be fine. And we've got two SATA chains. Those are both identical. One of them is longer than the other.
Because it's got Molex on the end.
So is that one.
Yeah, but that one is longer.
Yeah, this one is longer. So this guy's going to go up the back of the case. So I think we can probably run that up the back of the case. Or are we going to run it through the loom? I think we should run it through the back of the case just to reduce the amount of stuff that needs to go into the loom. Yeah. So what I'm inclined to do is go vertical now so we can put this out the back.
And also this one as well.
Yeah.
Or are you going to cable it this way?
I'm going to cable it on the front because normally for an aesthetics build, I would always put the wires at the back. But the point of this build is that this is accessible. And I want to be able to quickly add and remove hard drives. It's not a hot swap bay because it's got to be unscrewed and then the drive's unscrewed. But I want to be able to do that without actually dragging the computer out. So if I do actually want to pull one of these drives to swap it out, I don't actually have to disassemble a whole machine, per se. Stiff? Yeah, stiff. Yeah. I'm not a fan of drive cages like this. But, I
feels
think,
unnecessary.
Yeah, the modern design of just having a plastic sled that goes in is much, much better. But, yeah. Anyway, all right. So Caradog is. Let's switch back to the wide angle. So Caradog is going to put hard drives in a cage. I'm going to go vertical and start cable routing this. What's going on in chat? Do you guys build a PC? Utterly wanker, completely gazeboed. Case looks fantastic inside out. It's nice, isn't it? Right. God.
Completely plastered.
Utterly James Webb telescoped. Oh no. The rule of thermal paste is it gets everywhere. And it's all over the back of this case.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so... We'll lay this down on the carpet tile next because actually we're extremely lucky we haven't put a ding in that panel. And like this case isn't going to stay perfect forever, but it would be nice to not scratch it in the first build. It's just a fact of life that if you start using a case, it's going to get dinged. That's just how it works. Okay. Which was the long boy? That one. That's going out there. It's coming up to here.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, don't know how much.
That does not have the oomph.
No, I would have been surprised. Hang on a sec. Whoop. Right. So,
Oh, actually,
are you using the right screws there?
I'm
not sure
because
you
I'm
are.
using the normal ones.
Yeah, I think
They're
you'll need.
not
I think you'll need the
quite long
specific
enough.
hard drive screws.
Yeah.
That is a good case to use. I've probably got compatible screws, but we'll use the actual ones for the case in this instance. The nice thing is, because we've got this nice little screw box, I think you want to use those, actually. I think that's what those big
Yeah,
silver
I was
thumb
just
screws
looking
are
at these. I was just like, but what are
for.
these?
No, I'm not sure what those purposes are either. Yeah. Okay, right. Let's see.
Oh, what, these stepped ones?
Yeah, that's right. Those are for the drives, I reckon. Okay, I'm going to run that up the back.
I was about to have the horrible moment where you opened it the wrong way round.
And can I zip tie that somewhere?
I don't know how I feel about these cages.
What, the hard drive cage in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, I don't like them. I don't think they actually.
It feels very unnecessary.
Yeah, I think they're an overkill solution.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think they're overkill. They're over-engineered, and there are simpler ways to mount hard drives. But they were just kind of what the fashion was for a very long time, is to have a drive cage like that you pulled out with all of the drives in. But on the flip side, of course, on a regular computer, it kind of begs the question: well, how often are you swapping out your hard drives? You know, if you need to change drives that often, you would be using hot swap bays. So there we go. That's better.
There you go.
That's going to go there, and that's going to get a zip tie around the back. Oh my god, what is all of that? I've just found all of the top stuff. There's so much of it. Right, that's going to go there. Right, and that will crush flat. That'll be fine. All right. Oh. I'll lose that graphics card in a moment. Right. What's going on in the chat? Are they aluminium? There'll be steel screws. I don't think I've encountered aluminium screws before. Aluminium screws would be a terrible idea, because aluminium is actually very soft. So making a screw out of aluminium is an awful idea. So yeah, they will be steel. So the only disadvantage of that is it does mean they're a slightly different color to the aluminium, but that doesn't really matter. They're a bit odd where they're kind of thumb screws, but kind of not. I guess they're good just enough that you can just do them hand tight and not require a screwdriver to take them out, but
that's not falling out.
Yeah. Okay, right. I'm going to unpack all of this. I need a pair of side cutters.
I'm going to tidy up these cables. Snip.
One fear every time you're cutting a zip tie, that you accidentally just go through the cable. What are we doing with all the fans?
I love you, kitchen gun.
Right. We'll do the fans last.
It's fine. You've got Molex on the end of this chain. You can just plug it in.
Yeah, that's the thing. Am I going to use the built-in fan controller?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I tell you what I might do. I might just fire up a power supply so I can see how loud it is. I want to see what their definition of low is. Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 520 millimeter. Yeah. There's 5 140 millimeter fans on this. So if that thing is not aggressive, this thing will be loud. And I don't want a server behind me all the time going, you know. So I actually want to check if that fan controller is actually good or not. because if it's not good, then we're going to run it all into the motherboard using fan splitters. Where? Oh, I put it over here. We need one of them. And I need one of them. Let's see how loud these fans are.
You will need to plug them in.
I will. Oh. I'm going to move this enormous pot of screws that could cascade and go everywhere.
And put them away.
And put them somewhere else.
Okay. I'm going to tidy. Never mind.
I need more surface space.
No, you don't.
Oh, does this not have... Oh, this power supply doesn't have a Molex on it. I guess I'll get a different power supply.
It's right there.
It's right there.
This Molex here.
The Molex specifically for Molex. Very good. Right, okay, fans. Okay, let's undo this.
Why are you different?
Why are you like this?
Stop being different.
Oh, they might have some metrics there for the DVD drives. Because hard drives are imperial and DVD drives are metric.
It's just taller.
Oh, I see. That's an odd choice, yeah. Okay, right, let's just stuff all of these in. Not bothered about neatness right now, I just want them all to be connected so I can see what all of the fans will sound like. 1, 2. Oh, there's not even enough connections on this for all of the fans.
Why is this one different?
That's really annoying.
Stay.
That goes to there. That goes to there. Yeah, that's really annoying. There's no accessory cables or anything, is there? Yeah, there's just not enough fan connectors on this controller.
Why are you different?
All right, let's see what it sounds like with them as is. Bam. Okay, right. Make sure there's nothing in the fans. There's nothing in the fans. Main screen turn on. Now, nothing.
You need to plug in the cable. The cable is not plugged in.
The cable is not plugged in.
You require a different power cable.
I'll use a different power cable that's plugged in.
A flow cable.
Main screen turn on. Ooh. Okay, yeah, that's actually dead silent. That's still pretty good. And that's not bad for high speed. Well, I just leave them on low all the time, but yeah, that's completely usable. So the only problem there is that we don't have enough ports on this. Oh no, I can plug one of the fans directly into there. No, I can't, it's the wrong connector. I'd have to sort that out. I'd do that off stream. I'd find a solution to that. Yeah, we're going to use the built-in controller. I'm perfectly happy with that. Ooh. Yeah, for everyone who's saying it in chat, I can never say ignition when turning on a computer ever again. Unless I deliberately want that computer to die, you know.
Oh, I see, okay. I thought that was also being an R. Kelly reference.
I don't know how it would be, but also let's not go there. Right. Right, so that's going to need sorting out. We'll do the fans last. Right, I'm going to get my front panel connectors in. Those are going to come down the back and come out there. Oh God, eSATA. Am I connecting that up?
Why not?
Yeah.
Do it. Have all the front I/O functioning.
Yeah. Well, except for bloody Firewire. 1394. Actually, do I have a Firewire connector?
Maybe. No.
No, I don't.
It's probably 2 now.
Yeah,
Two
yeah.
now?
I was going to say because quite a lot of motherboards did
Yeah.
actually have front Firewire.
Hmm.
However, this one does not. So that guy's not going to get used. Right, eSATA, front USB. Front audio, front USB. Good. All right, so those guys are all going in. And those guys are going to come out. Yeah.
eSATA to normal SATA adapter. Can you not just plug in? Does this not just plug straight into eSATA?
I don't know, actually. Does it?
Well,
The eSATA connector is weird. I don't know if you can. I think it's keyed differently.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why you would actually want to plug in your eSATA. So, I think you should stop. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's not keyed right. That's visibly not keyed.
No.
Yeah.
I was just like, why is it different?
Yeah. Well, it's because the eSATA connector has got power on it, hasn't it? Or it can have power on it, I think. Or am I making that up? I think I'm making that up.
Then have those pins not connect with a normal SATA cable?
The eSATA connector was stupid.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I actually don't understand
the eSATA
the point.
connector was stupid.
It would have made more sense if it was just a really long SATA cable.
Yeah. Right. HD audio. Coming down there. That lot. Well, those two going in there. That can also go in there because that can go to the low one. And then we've got front.
Everything.
Yeah. There's a lot of front I/O on this case.
I mean, it's good.
Yeah. It's just not used to having to deal with this many cables going to the front I/O.
Also, them not being like blacked out or in a single bundle.
Yeah. I miss the original Noodly Boys.
Someone has to.
Yeah.
Do you know what would be amazing?
What?
If Jesus would get on board with everyone else's layout so we could standardize it.
They do now. They were just really late to the party. Yeah, that should have been standardized a long time ago, and there was no reason for it not to be. I don't understand why it wasn't.
Yeah.
Just zero reason for it. Like, sometimes you see people not following a standard because they're doing it a slightly different way that has its own advantages or its own technical reasons. But then there are some things where it's just like there is zero reason for this not to be standardized. No one is benefiting from this not being standard.
Yeah.
It just means that the case manufacturers have to bend over backwards. Right, sort those out in a minute. Right, so now we're going to plug everything in, and then we can pull the excess back and start zip tying things down. Round to go.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes no sense. Oh, now that you're doing it vertical, do you want me to drop the light?
I think we're
So
good,
you've not
actually.
got funny
The light can see over the top of my hand that way.
Ah, okay, yes.
Right. Le bench cam. There we go. That's a good enough angle, I think. All right. What's going on in chat?
Discussions of eSATA.
Aha. Are people agreeing with us, or are we being told that we're wrong?
Oh, I saw these thumb screws on the bench and thought I'd managed to not put the thumb screws on for the Noctua hold down bracket. I was like, how is that still there? But no, a case of apparently it was useful. I just wonder to whom.
Oh.
And how. Given that, I don't know, for me it was just as easy to have a SATA cable and a SATA chain off of a PSU and just be like, ta-da.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the thing, is there are some people out there that were using eSATA, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't have just been a normal SATA cable.
That's the thing.
We're not saying that eSATA wasn't useful. We're saying that there was no need for it to have a proprietary connector.
As far as I can tell, although apparently there was a version of it that did USB power or something.
That's what I think, and I
And
think
I'm
that's
just like,
why it's
what?
different. But unless it's just because it was a more sturdy connector, because obviously the SATA connector is not particularly strong, so
Yeah.
maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But
I thought the
eSATA was always a stopgap anyway, because it came at that time where USB 2 wasn't fast enough, but USB 3 wasn't quite here yet.
Yeah.
So
it was like some motherboards had a combo port that was USB and eSATA.
yes, those were quite common on laptops actually. Really, really bizarre port. I remember seeing that for the first time and going, "What the actual? How? How have you managed to put both of those on one port?" And it's a really cool port.
Yeah.
But also it's but why does this exist port, you know?
Because they wanted to include eSATA, but they were like, USB's more useful.
I get for anyone who was using eSATA, well, see, I'm tempted to say for anyone who was using eSATA, why not just use FireWire? That was what you needed.
Because wasn't eSATA,
I mean, I guess
over twice as fast as the fastest FireWire?
I mean, FireWire was at 400 megabits, so and
SATA was 1.5 gigabit.
Yeah, no, FireWire 400 was actually about the same speed as USB 2. I forget. Yeah,
and then
no,
FireWire went
right.
up to 1600, didn't it?
The
final revision was
although
FireWire 1600.
I've never seen 1600. 800 was a thing, although it was really rare on PCs. But FireWire 800 was common on Macs. But yeah, no, you're correct. You're correct. I had it in my head that FireWire had a bigger lead over USB, but it didn't actually, which is one of the reasons why FireWire was uncommon in general. Although there were other advantages to FireWire.
It was significantly faster at the time.
Yeah.
Even though they were the same theoretical throughput.
Yeah.
Because of the CPU overhead on USB.
Yeah, that was a very good point that I forgot.
I remember that being a thing on some computers. You just copying a file over USB 2 and seeing this single core CPU go to maxed out desktop is laggy now.
Yeah.
And then the file copy finishes and it stops.
Yeah.
And we've gone to the point nowadays where it's just like I'm copying files around and you don't notice.
Yeah.
And I'm moving these orders of magnitude faster. It's just
by comparison, because FireWire was doing a lot more processing in the controller, it did not cap out your CPU when doing big transfers.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also a case of FireWire was big on the audiovisual stuff because of the latency over FireWire was much lower.
Yeah.
Which, as far as I understand, FireWire was direct memory access.
Yes. Yeah, DMA. Yeah.
Or it supported a DMA mode, so you could DMA into a device.
Certainly, this was at the time when I was contracting, and some of the clients that I was visiting on site were multimedia companies doing audio editing, video editing, and stuff like that. And all of their racks of equipment, all of their audio interfaces and stuff, all connected by FireWire.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yes. Okay, right, that is plugged in. Right, I'm going to start tying back some of these cables. So now I'm going to turn it around.
Yeah, don't forget to put the optical drive in.
Oh yeah, I should do that now actually. Yeah, let's get the optical drive in.
It should also probably go in the bottom slot. Just for cable length.
Yeah, let's check that. Do you want to go to live cam again? Because I'm not going to show a detailed view of this. I'm going to... Right, so... How do optical drive on this? I think we've got to take the blanking plate off the front, slide it in, and then put the blanking plate in front of it. Because it ain't going in. Well, I could take the... No, it won't fit in the back because the front bezel of the drive won't clear.
Yeah.
So yeah, screwdriver, please. Thank you. And where's our long boy? That's the one we're going for. I think that actually looks longer, doesn't it? Oh, it's the same length.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we've got gallons of length on this.
Okay.
So if that came out the... Oops.
Be gone.
If that came out the back... Just test fit that. Plugged it into the motherboard. We went out the back, came up here, and yeah, we can reach the top slot. So I'm going to top slot it just because I think that...
Can it... Oh no, it's left-hand side, isn't it?
Yeah.
So.
I think it looks nicer in the top slot, but then it's actually not going to be visible. So do I care? No, I'm going to top slot it because that looks nicer and there's no reason not to. Right.
Very well.
So I've got 2 screws that I'm taking out now. So the other one is going to be here-ish. Oh my god.
You could rotate the case.
There we go. I want to show people. So this one is now coming out here. Oh, people can't see anything in it. I'm trying to show people what I'm doing, but also I should turn it around to face me. But
congrats, did it.
2 screws and this front plate should come out. Oh, that's not how it works at all.
It lifts up?
No, that's...
I mean, it lifts up.
Does this cage come out? No, the cage is riveted in.
Is it?
Yeah, is riveted to the top. I think, you know, I think the DVD drive does actually go... No, it does... How the Jeffries does that come out? I'm going to take out the other hard drive cage and see if I can slide a DVD drive in through the back of the cage.
No. Oh dear. Oh dear. There we go.
Right, abandon a sec. Let's just see if I can do this. Oh, bloody hell, tight squeeze. No, absolutely not. No, that's not the answer. That has to come out.
Do you have to take off both of them?
Maybe. I mean, if I took them all out, then I could twist them diagonally. Oh, do you want to hit that super chat while I figure this out?
No one has provided insight.
Yeah,
that's what I was quickly speaking.
Okay, yeah.
However, Nikki Noki Naki Nu super chats £5. Interesting stream today. What are your thoughts on cable-less Project Stealth? Is it a fish in the pan?
Is this that Gigabyte thing?
Flash. That's supposed to say flash.
Is this that Gigabyte one that LTT did, where there was no visible cables?
Oh yeah.
That was a Gigabyte one, but is that Project Stealth?
Maybe.
Can someone confirm or deny this? Because I can certainly make comments on that. I just don't know if that's what you were actually talking about.
I quite like talking about the Gigabyte thing specifically. I quite like that. I was like, oh yes.
Yeah, I thought it was
not bad.
Yeah.
However, at the same time, I'm just kind of like,
I don't see the need personally.
There are ways of doing this without making it as proprietary as it is.
Yeah. And also, like, personally, I think just nice braided cables are what we need. I don't think we need to turn power conduits into blocks to just, because in order to do that, everything has to sort of turn into a block that mounts on stuff. Well, oh no, it was a graphics card where the power connectors were at the back, wasn't it?
At the bottom. They're at the bottom. So.
Oh yeah. I thought it was interesting, but I felt like it was unnecessary. I think that just a good set of also, is that heat damage? Oh, it's a cable. Ignore me. Sorry. It looked like it was damaged there. Yeah.
Yes, but to me, in a way, I don't understand why the power connectors are always on the outside of the card anyway. Because as an industry, they could have just standardized on the bottom, and it would have the same effect. You just move the connectors to the bottom there, you plug them in, and then you're done.
That brings in a lot of clearance problems, though. Motherboard clearance issues and stuff like that.
I guess it depends on how long the GPU is. Because obviously if the GPU is longer than the motherboard.
Yeah, because this is why they're there. Because then you can plug them in regardless of what kind of setup you have.
But it was a case of obviously if the industry had standardized on that, it would be standard for there to be that clearance on motherboards.
Yeah. Just to answer the question of how we get the front plates out, you go back to the bench cam, please. So having removed the bottom, there is cutouts here in the drive cage, which allow me to insert these and then move them up into position. So that's how those all come out. So now I can slide a DVD drive in here.
It's quite a lot of work.
It is. This is not a hot swap case, which is weird because it has a lot of toolless access on it. But this has always been. That goes back.
Go back. Yeah.
This has always been a weird thing about computer cases where they're desperate to have toolless assembly, yet you blatantly need tools. Yeah. And it's so much work that tools would be significantly easier. So anyway, going back to this super chat about Project Stealth, did we get a confirmation? Was that the thing? If not, I'm going to
Yes, Gigabyte.
Yeah. So I thought it was neat. I don't think it's necessary. I think people just need to get braided extensions. That's literally the solution. Just braided extensions. Well, that's just about, but you don't need to use it all the time, I guess. So yeah, I wasn't super. I thought it was very cool. It was very novel, and if nothing else, I think it seems like one of those things where you could make something compatible. I think there might be mileage in people making. When NVIDIA brought out the 12-pin thing that went on the Founders Edition 30 series cards, the 12-pin power connector. Was it 12 or was it 10-pin?
Yeah.
12-pin. Yeah. NVIDIA's 12-pin power connector on the 30 series Founders Edition cards, everyone hated it. I like it because it's a really small connector. And it was like, oh, now you need an adapter. Yeah, so I spent 10 quid on a braided extension for it. Mine's invisible.
Yeah. Also, I've
got a nice single power cable that just goes whoosh into my card, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah. It was also a case of it was effectively the first revision of the ATX 3.0 spec.
Yeah. So, like, I do understand that having dual 8-pins or even like triple 8-pins on some graphics cards is just ridiculous, and I agree. We need something better than that.
Well, we needed the spec for the PCIe connector to be more stringent and to not allow crap power supplies.
Yes, exactly. I agree with that.
If the ATX 2.0 spec had been more stringent and had not allowed those CIT and things like that, power supplies to pretend to be 700 watt. Yeah,
because the reason
then it wouldn't be so much of an issue.
Yeah, because the reason why we need a triple 8-pin connector on some cards is that by the ATX standard, you can only put the ATX standard only specifies a certain thickness of the wire, and if you use that really thin gauge wire, you can actually only put say 200 watts into a single 8-pin.
I think it's something very low, or like 180.
Yeah, and that's something. And that's absurd considering a high quality power supply with nice thick gauge wire on it would easily put 600 watts into an 8-pin connector. But that's not what's in the standard. So the card has to have the extra connectors because the card manufacturers have to account for the fact that you might be using a £10 crap box power supply, even though you couldn't. And part of me thinks that the graphics card manufacturers should just say, F you, if you use that cheap power supply, that's what you get. And just put on the box, you must have a power supply with this gauge wire. Because
it will be their support issue. It will be their RMA.
I guess. Either way, though, getting back to the point, I think Project Stealth is an interesting idea. However, I think there are better solutions to the problem, and I think we're actually already on our way to those better solutions. So I think this is an issue that's going to fix itself without the need for stealth cables. However, as a concept, building a computer with no visible cables inside, that's cool. It's not 100% my cup of tea because I don't like builds that are too clean. Because it's like when you get motherboards with all of the plastic covers on and stuff like that. And like a lot of high-end motherboards these days have just got metal covers over everything. And I'm like, I have a window in the side of my computer because I want to see the circuit boards. If I'm going to put metal covers over everything, why do I even have a window in the case? If you're covering everything up, why even bother having a window? That's my actual opinion.
Yeah.
So for stealth cables, to a certain extent, I think that nicely routed cables are sexy.
Yeah, you just want to avoid them being a complete mess.
That's it. However, I can appreciate that if we take the current worst case scenario, which is triple 8-pin connectors with like these cables on them, not nice braided ones or anything like that, just standard power supply cables. That's very difficult.
Or the multicolored ones.
Yeah, or even multicolored ones. It's very difficult to make that look nice. So I understand why people are looking for solutions, but I think we already have the solutions and people need to actually use them.
And it feels like it will be something that will be resolved by the ATX3 standard.
Yeah.
Because obviously we've now got a single connector that supports up to 600 watt.
Yeah. And
up to 800 watt, something in that order. So something much, much higher. And also it's got 4 sense pins on there. So the power supply and the load can negotiate.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a good point.
Yeah. And it's I don't think we're not going to see that on like the next gen cards, are we? That's going to be the generation after this one approaching, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. Well, we've already got it on the 3090 Ti.
Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, rad.
That 12 plus 4-pin connector is the ATX3.
I didn't know it had another connector on it. I assume it just had PCIe 8 pins on it.
That connector is the ATX3 spec connector.
That's very cool. Yeah, I approve.
And apparently the 3090 Ti reference board, and by extensions AIB boards, are supposedly pin compatible with the 4090. So they are test boards for the 4090 functionally. Yeah. So it's a case that based off of that, at the very least the Founders Editions are all going to be using the ATX3 connector.
Yeah, that sounds good. I approve. They may continue with my blessing.
Which certainly seems to avoid some of those issues. Because if you've got a 3090 Ti and you're using the standard ATX, you would need 4, wouldn't you? You need 4 8-pins?
Yeah.
Because that's going to give you 600 watts.
Yeah.
That is not flat.
Yeah.
That is very not flat.
Yeah, I'm working on it. There we go.
So you need 4 8-pins.
Yeah.
Or 3 of them, but going well outside of technically the spec, but obviously well inside what decent ones could do. Yeah, it's like the EPS connector. Like the EPS connector by specification can only do slightly more than the PCIe 8-pin. But the actual physical connector on like most motherboards can do nearly 400 watts. Sort of thing.
Yeah, especially if you give it solid pins.
Yeah, and just stuff like that. And it's just a very annoying from my point of view as a purveyor of high wattage computing.
Yeah.
That the specification is sufficiently lenient to allow such discrepancies between what people are doing and what the specification actually mandates as a minimum kind of thing. And just, how much over specifying, not even that, just how much the bar needs to be effectively lowered from what people are doing. Yeah. I don't know. It's silly.
Yes. And it's a little bit awkward because these connectors are coming along at a time where the power requirements are still going up. So, like, if we said the new connector, if we said the new PCIe 3, what is it? PCI Express 3 power connector?
ATX3.
ATX3. If the new ATX3 connector can do, how much did we say?
I can't remember. I think it's 600 watts.
600 watts.
800 watts.
See, if it can do 600 watts, it's a case of, The 4090 might go past that.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because it's not going to be a sustained load of more than 600 watts.
Yeah,
kind of
so
thing.
we're assuming that's
And
600 sustained.
assuming
yeah.
that's that's what almost all the ratings are for.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Which
it's
is
not reasonable to spec for peak load.
It's not having a specification that's having a specification that says, oh yeah, by the way, this connector can do 2 kilowatts for 0.04 of a second.
That doesn't make sense. No,
useless.
Yeah,
because what devices are going to require 2 kilowatts for only 0.4 of a second?
No, you're right. There's no point.
It's
in
like, what's the point in having
peaks.
that as a part of an official specification?
Yeah.
If you're having stuff like that, that should be a case of our product's done goofed.
Yeah.
To a degree, that's what the transients are anyway, is slightly the products somewhat having done goofed by the fact that they're 2 or 3 times their normal load.
Yeah, agreed. I actually agree. I'm sort of, as per the Gamers Nexus video, where they sort of bring up the topic of, we're not quite, it's still, the jury is still out on whether the transients are a problem for graphics card manufacturers to solve or power supply manufacturers to solve. Someone needs to
both.
Yeah, someone's got to put in a bank of capacitors somewhere. It's just a question of where you're going to put it, in the power supply or on the card.
Well, arguably both, because the mantra should be you should never rely on someone else's mitigation.
That's true. Yeah.
The cards should have mitigation for those spikes.
Yeah. The other issue is
NVIDIA should be building cards that don't have transients like that.
Yeah.
As a part of the design of the actual core silicon.
Yeah.
Those transients should be better clamped by driver design, by actual hardware design, by the actual silicon that is being used.
Yeah. Because also in
my opinion, because going to 3 times nominal usage
isn't reasonable.
Is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Especially when you're saying, oh yeah, by the way, our nominal usage is going to be 600 watts.
Yeah.
So what, we're now talking about 2 kilowatt transients?
Yeah.
As if that is the case, it's kind of going, whoa, hold on a minute. You want me to have 2 kilowatts of capacitance?
Yeah. I mean, also at that point, you're going to run into inductance in the cables, where the wires themselves will have inductance. And you will start having issues where your capacitors can't react because the inductance in the cables will soak up that power. Because that's the thing is you can't just flash 2 kilowatts down a cable because the cable itself is an inductor which resists a change in current.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're running into that kind of issue. I mean, obviously, we're getting deep into electronics engineering, which is not my specialty. But that is a problem you're going to run into at this point.
So it's a case of you need mass amounts of bulk capacitance on the card.
Yeah.
And also in the power supply.
Yeah. Because like already, as Gamers Nexus observed, the issue of transients is more prevalent in SFX power supplies, in small form factor power supplies.
Or transients being an issue is more prevalent in... Because of their small size.
Because where they're a small size, they have less output capacitance. So we know that's an issue. So obviously, if power supplies put in a little bit of extra output capacitance, and then graphics card manufacturers stick a couple of input capacitors at the ATX connectors, then the two of them combined can probably mitigate.
Capacitance is a function of voltage. In the sense of, if I increase the voltage of a capacitor, its capacitance increases. Yeah?
The stored energy increases.
So I would want a 12-volt capacitor for these transients, not a 1-volt capacitor. I'd want it to be pre-VRM, not post-VRM.
Yes.
If we're talking about trying to supply some of these transients, you'd want... more bulk 12 volt.
Yes.
But also obviously you need still quite a lot on the output side as well.
Yeah, because also I don't think you can have anywhere near enough capacitance to deal with the transients after the VRM, because we already have some capacitors between the VRMs and the core, and there's not physically space to put a meaningful amount more there.
Yeah.
And obviously, at that point, you need capacitors that have ridiculous ESR on them and stuff like that. Whereas before the VRM, when the power is still dirty, air quotes, it's less of an issue. So I would agree with that. I would just stick a bunch of bulk capacitance right behind the 8-pin connectors or whatever connectors you end up using. Again, I'm not an electronics engineer, but
but it's a case of you'd want that there as well.
Yeah.
And then I guess you'd also want, oh God, you get to the point where you then have capacitors on the 12-pin connector from the power supply. So you've got capacitors on the cable going into the connector. You've got capacitors on the other side of the connector. You've got more capacitance inside the power supply itself.
Yeah. Well, this is what you know. Do I have one? No, I don't. You know the Corsair RM series cables that have those big, huge chunks in the wires.
Yeah.
I believe those are inline capacitors.
The AX1000 and 1600 have end of cable capacitors as well.
And that's there specifically because the cable itself is an inductor. So if you stick the capacitor at the end of the cable, then you avert the issue of the cable having inductance. So that's what that is all about. So that is also a potential solution we'll see from the power supply manufacturers. They'll stick a bunch of capacitors of inline capacitors in the cables.
Yeah,
that's actually a very, very reasonable response to this.
If you were to double the input voltage, so it became a 24-volt rail, would it reduce the problem, or would the problem stay the same? Because
the problem would stay the same. However, that would be a way of mitigating the inductance problem, because if the voltage would be higher, therefore the current would be lower. Therefore, you would reduce the inductance issue in the cable.
Oh, inductance is a function of current.
Yes.
Okay.
And thus, you could stick all
also,
of your...
I thought inductance was a function of AC.
No. So you're thinking of impedance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So so if you have a higher voltage, the current is lower, and therefore you could stick all your bulk capacitors inside the power supply because the inductance of the cables is not an issue. However, if you've got lower voltage and thus higher current, when you try and pull that high current through the cable, the inductance is going to slow everything down. Because, again, the cables and inductance, think of it like the cable is like a rope. You're pulling on the rope to pull more power down the cable. And if you imagine the rope is elasticated, you pull on the rope, and you've got to take up that slack and elasticity before you actually get any power. That elasticity is the inductance. It's the cable resisting that current coming down it. Now, normally this is minimal in a cable because obviously they're all copper conductors, which are designed to have as much throughput as possible. But when you start getting into sudden, transients by definition are very errant, high, very sharp spikes in power that can be anything like 2 or 3 times what you're expecting. So inductance is potentially going to be an issue. However, there might be people in the chat that know more about electronics engineering than me going, you are never going to run into inductance issues here. So, I don't know. Any thoughts in chat?
Yeah.
This is very boring to watch, by the way. This is cable tidying, but yeah, I'm very carefully zip tying up these cables so they're all nice and length matched so we don't have spaghetti everywhere.
How big is a 2 kilowatt capacitor? I have seen...
Depends how much capacitance it's got, you know, but yeah.
I have seen capacitors up to about this size around.
Yeah.
And about this tall.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that is large.
Yeah, depends how much they've got to store. Because that's the thing, a transient, I was actually very disappointed when the Gamers Nexus video didn't actually talk about how much power those transients were actually calling for. It did show how they were very brief, but it was and they did show how the wattage was very high, but how many like joules were in those transients? Because if it only has if it's like 2 or 3 times the current for a fraction of a second, then you only need very small capacitors to deal with that. They just need to be there. But they don't actually need to store a lot. They just need to be there. However, if those transients are big enough that you actually need like a couple of farads of energy, that you need several whatevers of energy, then you might need a big fat thing. But on the other hand, though, we're talking about 2 kilovolts. That's obviously way outside the remit. Those are
not 2 kilovolts.
Oh, 2 kilowatts.
Yes.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
If it was 2 kilovolt transients,
that's why I was confused. Yeah.
If it was a transient to 2 kilovolts, I'd wonder why there was some sort of step up involved.
Yes.
And why it was stepping up from my 1 volt V core to 2 kilovolts.
Yeah. Yeah. We're outside of my knowledge of we're straying outside my knowledge of electronics engineering at this point. So I'm gonna have to back away from this one and be like, actually, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's just kind of a case of
because this is the point where we need to actually start getting the units and at least orders of magnitude correct.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I don't know the answer to that one.
Yeah, but it's just kind of a case of, as well, I think, I feel, are you sure you want all of those that length?
No, I'm not sure.
Have you actually run any of the fans to make sure?
No, I have not run any of the fans to make sure. Next question.
Do you want to run some of the fans to make sure?
Yes. I started doing this
because one of them is only here.
Yes.
So you're going to have to take this one all the way over to there anyway.
I started doing this because we were getting onto a waffle. So I was like, I'm going to start doing this very boring cable tidying while I waffle.
Got to there.
Yep.
Which will take
right
whatever that very short one was.
I'm going to see what fans can get over there first.
But yeah. Yeah. What is the rating on the fans? I'm presuming they're going to be saying like 300.
Yeah, they'll be 300 milliamps. Oh.
Can I see? No, I cannot. I will go behind and read.
Fans use a lot less power than people think.
0.1. 0.14. Yeah, 0.14.
Really? Oh, those are, that probably explains why they were so quiet. These are low flow fans. This case is designed to have lots of low airflow fans in it. Yeah. I think that's their theory. It's designed to be super quiet and just have a lot of low speed fans, which is why, because when we stepped those up to high speed, that should have been 12 volt, and that didn't sound like a high speed fan to me, you know.
I think also a high speed one, high speed 140 is only going to be what, 1400 maybe.
Yeah, I think these were doing like 1000 RPM.
Yeah.
At high speed, at max speed. So. Yeah, okay, I'll pull a loop out of that. That'll be fine. Okay, what's going on in chat?
No. You can get capacities and radio transmitters that are bigger than that Lian Li box. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen them. Yes, I have been around Rowridge, which is a site which is used for the transmitting of the radio waves. So yeah, that was a good time. And it was the very first time that I think basically anyone saw a DRM radio.
DRM?
Yes. And before people go, oh, digital rights management. No, it was a French system called Digital Radio Mondiale. Digital Worldwide Radio, effectively, was the plan for it. And it was I think it was a second stab at satellite radio. So yeah, interesting. Never ever saw anyone selling a receiver for it, but interesting. It was an idea. It never took off. And then something we got DAB.
Oh, don't get him started on DAB.
It's that conversation about, you know, what is progress, I feel. In the sense of you start going to the point of how do you define what progress is? How do you define better? And to whom are we defining the better?
Yeah.
And so on, and kind of all of these things. And it's just like, what is it possible for you to say that something has failed at being better if one person likes it more?
Yeah.
So yes.
DAB radio is actually very low quality when it should have been very good quality.
Yeah, but then again, you look at the speakers that most people listen to stuff on, it doesn't particularly matter.
Yeah.
The point proven by the fact of the number of people who go, my mobile phone sounds really good. And you go, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. Okay, that needs to come out. This is the most boring part of the build, is where you're just having to get all the cables right.
I move this cable here. Now I need to move this cable.
Yeah.
And now I have to move this back. Now I need to move this one back again. And I have to move this one over here. And I have to move this back again.
Very carefully length matching, then taking something out and then going, oh, actually, this needs to go under this one, and just, yeah. This is the bit that normally I skip through when doing build videos. There'll be a little bit of fast forwarding, a lot of skipping of me going behind it.
With precisely those sound effects.
Yeah. But this is by far and away the most time-consuming part of a build. But also, yeah, this is where most people's builds go wrong. This is the part where they're going sort of, yeah, I'm building my computer, and then suddenly they plug in the cables and they go, oh, now there's cables everywhere, kind of thing. Yeah. This is the part where this is the bit that makes or breaks the build.
Yeah, it's also the case of where you see where progress has been made in modern cases.
Yeah.
For making this easier.
Yeah.
Or making it less necessary, because you have places where you can just stuff.
Yes.
You can just take a bundle of cables and just stuff it somewhere, and it's no longer visible.
The biggest problem with this case is the lack of space behind the motherboard tray here. We've only got about 10 mil. So, like, I'm putting this in here. This is a push. This is going to get crushed flat when we actually close it up. Like, you couldn't put the ATX cable here. It won't fit.
Yeah.
And that's unheard of in a modern case. That's like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Modern case, you'll have like an inch, like 2 or 3 centimeters of space minimum. Right. A lot of these cables, I'm not doing cable pornography here. My objective is just to make sure
that they're mostly out the way.
Yeah, that's right. I just want them to just like these ones here. This is just a bit sort of how you're doing, as Dave would say, but that's all it needs to be. Once the back panel is on, this is not going to be visible, so it doesn't need to be any better than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not going to do any more with that in case I want to reroute it or change anything.
Given that that's the panel that's going over the top of it,
yeah,
and there is nothing to see through this.
Yeah. Now, the loom on the inside of the case for the ATX cable and stuff, I'm going to be a bit more bothered about that one because that is going to be visible.
Especially as you're not going to have a side panel.
Yeah.
Or you could just put the side panel on and be like, the crimes have been hidden.
Yeah, well, I'd have to take it off every other day.
Would you not want to put the right angle this end so it can come straight out of there instead of rolling it around this? Or is there going to be enough space to not crush that?
Oh, that can actually, yeah, that can go through that hole, first of all. However, I'd rather have the right angle cable up there just because it means that it just goes straight down out the back of the drive.
Did double 90-degree SATA cables, were they ever a thing?
I haven't seen one before, but it wouldn't surprise me if it existed, because most of the time, whatever you're looking for is out there. Like I've seen so this is a 90-degree connector, which you're all familiar with, and this is the top of it. I've seen reverse 90 degrees where it's like that, but that's the top. So it comes out of the drive like that instead. So, if those exist, I'm sure that a 90 at both ends is a cable that exists. So yeah, I've seen, but again, it's just a question of it's probably a thing you'd buy separately.
Yeah.
The vast
Or a
majority of
180
cables.
degree cable.
180 degrees.
So you stick it on there, and then it would just run flat against the drive.
Oh right. They're probably out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Probably
use cases
something.
for them.
Probably something that gets used by people who are building 0.9 liter SFF PCs.
Yeah, it's probably a specialist thing. Yeah.
This SATA cable cost me £45.
Yes. Oh.
And then some bastard goes, "Have you tried using an M.2 drive?"
Yeah. All right, I'm going to lay this thing down. And I'm going to put it on the carpet tile.
The tile of carpet. The carpet's tile. Given how not designed for it that little mount is, it's lasted reasonably well.
Yeah. This is the problem. People always say, "Oh, what mount do you use on your camera?" And I'm just like, it's a horrible hodgepodge of stuff that I've mangled on there, so I cannot link it to you, no. But it works incredibly well. It has such a high degree of movement considering the setup. Okay, right, so now I want to sort this out.
Oh.
What are you...
Those are screws. So you can just actually remove that plate.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of cool.
Huh. Very well.
Right.
Or for if you had some exceedingly double length power supply.
Right, that's going to pull that through.
Yeah, you will have a little bit of hide space behind the hard drives.
Yeah. So I think we're going to do... I'm going to go for like that. I'm going to zip tie that down there, is what I'm going to do.
Oh, using those handily pre-drilled holes.
Yeah, which I think is what they're for. I think those are zip tie holes. So going for that one? Yeah.
Embed a whole bunch of blue tack onto a tripod. That'll do. I didn't realise, talking about tripods and stuff, that there are 6 differently sized threads that are commonly used for tripods, cameras, microphones. Those things, there's 6 different common threads.
Oh, that's unreasonable.
Yeah, so I now have a bag of adapters, a literal bag of them, so I can actually adapt between all of the different threads. And the best part is, 2 of the threads are the same diameter, but a different
thread pitch.
That's
gross, yeah. Probably because metric and imperial, I'm guessing.
No, they're both imperial thread pitches.
Oh, no!
Yeah, 2 different imperial thread pitches. Because screw you, that's why. Yeah, and then camera manufacturers can't decide on which one they want to use on the bottom of their camera sometimes. So you'll randomly get a camera that has a different thread pitch on it. So yeah, I was looking, so I was trying to adapt what I'll call a camera tripod to a microphone stand. And that's how I came across the fact that there were so many different ones. And I was like, oh god, what do I even need? What do I want? What do I need to adapt from? Why do none of these things have sensible names? So, yes.
Jesus Christ, how horrifying.
Yeah, basically. It's just... Yes. Sorted in the end, but, 18 different adapters later. It's one of those things where I'm just like, can we all just agree to use the M3 thread setup for everything?
Yeah.
Please.
Why the heck not?
M3 for everything. Or maybe M2.5.
M3.
You know, if it needs to be slightly smaller,
Yeah.
then fine. But can we just use the
Metric is the way forward.
I see mentions of memory speeds. I think someone asked a question about should I upgrade my RAM. Hunter NG, would my Ryzen 5600X appreciate the upgrade from 3000 to 3600? Yes. However, are you going to notice the difference outside of benchmarking? Probably not, I think is my very quick summation of that.
Also depends on the timings, because if it's 3000 with bad timings and you went to 3600 or 3400 with good timings, that might bring in, you know, another 10 FPS or something, mightn't it?
Yeah, but then also if you've got a 5600X, you're also probably at 100 and something FPS anyway.
Yeah.
Probably. So it's a case that maybe.
You're not CPU bound at the very least, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a case that the gains that you will see will be low, but if that's a thing that you like the sound of investigating and spending a little bit of time on performance optimization effectively and tweaking stuff to do that, then yeah, absolutely. It's also a case if you're going up to those speeds, you'd probably want to you will want to make sure that you're using 2 sticks for minimum compatibility issues. For maximum compatibility, there we go. Because trying to run it in 4DIMM will be harder. And also will just limit the timings and clock speed that you can get anyway. So yeah. I think there was a mention of a motherboard in there as well. X57.
Someone was asking about motherboards earlier on. I don't know if anyone got back to them.
Oh yes. Yeah. Again, yeah. Use 2 sticks will generally be the best option, I would contend.
Yep, I concur.
Especially as that still allows you to get 64 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
And
the only reason why people
don't need 64 gigs of RAM in 99 point something of cases.
The only reason why people go to 4 modules is just because they want that stacked out look of having all the slots full. But the potential compatibility issues that you could run into are not worth it.
Yeah. The only other thing to double check if you're really wanting to get into the weeds of it with the memory optimization, performance optimizations, is to make sure that you get dual rank sticks. So 2 dual rank sticks, so you have 4 memory ranks. Just because that will give a performance uplift on Ryzen 5000. Yeah.
Okay. Right. I'm going to put in the graphics card. How does this... Oh, okay, right, hang on a sec.
You lift it.
Yeah. Oh, right, it's got a little plunger. Oh my god, can we get a close-up of that action?
There we go. You don't need to go closer. I have enhanced.
Look at the action on these little plungers here. That's crazy, man. That's so extra, it's unreal. They don't lock in the open position, which is a shame, but yeah, that's pretty mad. All right. Thinking. Graphics card.
Yes. That one.
What's the timer at?
The timer.
Oh, blanking plate. Damn
is at. I've no idea.
OBS down the bottom, live 2:30.
Oh, there.
Okay, that's...
Oh, there. It's right there.
Yep.
It's that one. It's the one that says live.
Yep.
I was confused because the timer said 0, and I
Yep.
was just like,
That's not horrifying. I've been going fairly slowly just because of the cables.
and methodically.
Yeah. However, yeah, we're doing all right.
Yeah,
If we were at the 3-hour mark, I'd have been like, oh bollocks, okay, we're throwing this thing together now. But yeah, all right. That was quite pleasing. All right.
Yeah, it looks like a reasonably solid.
Yeah, like that went down, it's stayed down. And I'm just like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Groovy. Right, let's plug this guy back in. So I'm getting to the point in the build now where I need to start making decisions on what concessions I'm going to make with the cable tidying, and also, for example, I've got to start thinking about SATA cables because I need to get 3 SATA cables in down here, which can be done, but that's why I'm test fitting the graphics card. You see what I mean?
That 24 pin is in the way.
That's right. I think it can be done. It's just something that's what I'm looking at the moment, and that's what I'm going about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't know if anyone can see anything on this camera at the moment. It's
Hold on.
Also though, because I've got a studio light in my eye, I'm finding it very difficult to see the preview. So I can't see the preview well enough to see if you guys can see anything. So
this can be resolved. We can put the light here, that way.
Possibly, yeah. Don't know if
that would resolve the issue.
Yeah, don't know if it's worth doing now, but right.
I'm going to try it.
Okay.
Given it requires me to do.
I'm going to take the graphics card back out now I've done a test fit. Yeah, see, the 24-pin ATX route I've done is beautiful, but also completely blocks my SATA ports. Normally, I wouldn't be at all bothered, because I'd be like, no one gives a shit about SATA, except the SATA fanboys. However, I do actually need a lot of SATA in this case.
Yes. You want 5, don't you?
And we've got 6 on the board. 2 of them, though, stick out like this. We can use them. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Well, I put the eSATA one to there because that's like a front panel.
Yeah, and also it's the least likely to be in use, so you can just go
yeah,
and plug something else into it.
Yeah. I would like, if I could get the DVD drive round to there, that'd be cool, and then just have all of those for the main drives, but I don't think that's going to happen. Right, I can go underneath this, though.
See, I was thinking about you'd leave that one free, so that one was an empty one, that if you needed to plug in a second SATA device, hot swappy like...
That would be nice, yeah.
You would use that one.
Yeah. Okay, right, let's start. I'm going to go vertical again. This is one of those times where you need to be upright.
You also do have this weird short one.
Not planning on using that one, but good to know.
Do you want the 90 degrees? You do not require the 90 degrees.
Yeah, I'll leave you in charge of photography for the moment. Okay, right, I need to speed up because I'm... Right, hang on a sec.
What are we doing?
I'm gaining energy.
I'm
charging. All right.
So do I need to get a balloon and just go... really aggravate everyone by getting a jumper and like rubbing it on you, so you are super static. But I guess that'd make you slower because you'd then be static.
I see what you did there.
Word puns.
I tell you what, running the SATA cables through this hole is actually not helpful. It's just a bit, there's just too much else going on in there.
Have some more if you require them.
Ah, good, yes, I will want those.
I am sliding this all around. Where do you want the mount for that? Oh, actually, I'll just screw it on.
That's fine. Right, that's going to go...
The Corsair AIO mounting is not... These are not directional, are they?
No. They can be. No, those ones are not. The AMD ones are.
Yes.
The Intel ones are not.
Yeah, because the threads are different.
Yeah.
But the length, the thingy itself, yes, that's fine. Good. Where did that AIO go? There. Oop. So I'll just put all the bits together.
All right. Okay, there we go. I'm making progress now.
Steaming.
Ah, it's different style cable. No matter.
Skydiving.
Out of the window. It's positively perilous. All right.
Oh, yes.
There we go. Not super thrilled about how I'm routing around the ATX cable there, but
I quite like it.
There's kind of nothing I can do about it either way, so. However, now we've got 3 SATA cables coming out the bottom here, which is what we need.
Engage. Thank you.
And they're going to have to be visible there, but that's okay. All right. Okay, I think that's acceptable. So now I just need to hide the tie these together. All right. So I'm now at the point where everything is plugged in, and now I just basically need to just tie anything back out of the way.
There's the alcohol.
We're 99% done. Oh yeah, the IPA. Yeah. I thought like the cider. Then I was like, why do you need my cider specifically?
Graham cider. The cider specifically for Graham. Cider's Graham. Wait.
All right.
Okay. Huh.
Okay, so I needed a bit more slack on these. That one cannot have any more slack, so that's dictating where those wires are going to go. So this is just going to... I can hide those guys back there.
Hide the crimes.
Yeah. It's difficult to show you guys what I'm doing, so I'm not going to bother. I'm just pushing cables out of sight at the moment and just... I'm stuffing them behind things so they stay there.
Ugh. The amount of dirt you managed to get out of the cold plate on AIOs.
It's surprising, isn't it? And heat sinks, just whenever you wipe down a heat sink or anything, yeah.
So you look at it and go, oh yeah, it's nice and clean. And then
could you do the 280 while you're at it as well? Thank you. Just so when I put that on the shelf, it's not covered in thermal paste. Okay. That's kind of just lives that way. I could have just...
Oh my god, that's a lot of tiny screws.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
That's tame for an Apple keyboard. Yeah, Caradog's just spotted that's a butterfly keyboard.
Why?
I'm going to
Why is it?
I'm going to attempt a butterfly keyboard replacement against my better judgment. And yeah, that's about half the screws that a normal Apple keyboard would have in it.
Dear. Also, you know what you were saying last week about almost all of your typing only having been on a MacBook?
Yes.
English. I am now using reasonably a lot for my general computer browsingness.
Yeah.
That MacBook.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, I somewhat understand your point now.
It's nice, isn't it?
It's not great,
yeah,
but it's a hell of a lot better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
I mean, the physical keyboard. Using macOS, I'm still kind of going, how? How is so much of this so archaic? Can I have window snapping? No.
Yeah,
Can I have a full screen that makes sense? No. Can I open 2 browser windows side by side? No, they're forced onto separate pages.
There's, for the most part, macOS is great, but there's just 1 or 2 big things where it's absolutely horrifying. And there are third-party solutions to it. Of course,
yes,
arguably you shouldn't need third-party solutions,
Yeah.
but
I've seen that someone has made a tool that is basically fancy zones.
yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, that's cool.
That's gonna
I'll
do.
grab that at some point. But I want to live with everything.
Yeah, you
kind
want
of
to understand
as
vanilla
is.
first. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm playing around with it. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
This is a bit hideous, this bit that I've got here. Oh, I've got the camera at a really awkward point. Yeah, so the fan cables here, this is just... there's not a lot I can do about that without doing a lot of work, so I'm not going to.
Because this will be effort, I am not.
Yes. However, we got the central part of the case nice and clear, which is what I want, because that means if I need to test a graphics card or something like that, I'm going to have all the space I need to just pull out the graphics card and plug a different one in. And that's my main objective when cable tidying, is just keeping stuff out of the way of the motherboard. I want to be able to disconnect all the cables from the motherboard and then take the motherboard out at a moment's notice. If you can do that, then your cable tidying is sufficient, in my opinion. Cool. Right. GPU. I'm going to put this. Other top bit back in. We're almost there. I've got a love-hate relationship with building PCs. In a way, I like building PCs, but also just it's tiring work, and it's just so much work to really get it as good as you think it could be.
Yeah. But also, again, to a degree, in a modern case, you can get it to the point of it being as good as it could be without many more hours in like 40 minutes.
Yeah,
50 minutes.
That's a good point, actually. A lot of the stuff that I've had to deal with in here is not stuff I would normally have to deal with.
Yeah, so it's kind of a case of, yes, this is taking a long time, but it's also an old case before those creature comforts were implemented.
And also, like, we anticipated having a lot of issues with cable length and stuff like that. And apart
we've had
from the
surprisingly few.
Yeah, the only one where it's actually been a big deal is the EPS, and we had an extension on hand for that.
Yeah, just because EPS is so uncommon.
Yeah, normally you never need to extend the EPS connector, so I just happened to have one that I hadn't bothered using in another setup. Oh, these do lock open when it's... Yeah, they were just falling shut. All right. My point, yeah. Every now and then I've got to look up at the preview and just be like, is the camera actually pointing at anything vaguely useful?
If it was completely unhelpful, I would have changed it.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to put the hard drive cage in. This is the point where I find that you've put all of the hard drives in the wrong way round. You have not, don't worry.
No, I have not.
God, that is a brick of hard drives, isn't it?
Yeah.
These guys have got a fan pointing at them, thankfully.
It's also 12 terabytes.
Not bad.
Yes, that's pretty good.
Ugh. Ah, that felt a lot more
convincing
going into place, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to make these SATA cables sit comfortably now.
That's one thing I wanted was investigating, as if you could mount the drives the other way up, so you could cable from the top.
Yeah, this is where you want reverse
90 degree.
Reverse 90-degree SATA cables. All right, let's just start plugging them in and just seeing what happens. That's often the best way to go in a situation like this, is just start plugging them in and seeing what happens. If you suddenly find that one of them won't reach, you know that you need to move the one that won't reach to a closer drive. And yeah. There we go. That's actually quite tolerable. And I'm glad I put 90-degree connectors on here, because that would have been a bit of a struggle. That's not bad.
Yeah.
And is that blocking the fan? Nope. Cool. Power.
Where's the rest of that chain gone? Oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
You tucked it around the back, and
Yeah.
I thought that was coming straight out of the power supply. I was like, how is it so short? Can you run that underneath?
I could.
Oh yeah, but that's going to be a
but I
lot of
won't.
effort.
Yeah, I don't think that's worth it, because also it'll be coming out of here, and the excess will be hard to bury. As it is, we're going to have the spacing issue.
Yeah. That's also why I looked at seeing if I could put the middle one in the other way around, just so you could go bottom, top, loop back to bottom.
Yeah. So I'm going to adjust this cable so the case can be closed, but in reality it won't be closed, so this isn't actually an issue. This case is designed for these to be wired in from the other side. There's significantly more room on the other side of the drives. So if these were the other way around, we'd have loads of room for SATA cables and SATA connectors. So this is the wrong way round as to how the Lian Li intended. But I'm putting it in this way round so I can very easily unplug a drive. Although the problem is I can't take out a drive without taking out the entire cage. But then on the other hand, I can unplug all of them and then pull out the cage. So
And
this still makes sense.
And also you can unplug one of them and plug something else in. It gives you that flexibility as well.
Yeah.
This way around.
Yeah.
It just means you can hot swap something in effectively.
Yeah. So this is a bit ugly and not ideal, but this is being done this way for the purposes of utility, basically. And that guy's just going to tuck in at the top there.
Having that Molex there is actually possibly quite handy.
Yeah, there's very certain instances where it might be incredibly valuable to have a Molex just sticking out to plug into a legacy drive or something like that. See, like if someone came in with an IDE drive that I've got to plug in, I can just plug that in there, connect an adapter to it.
Yeah, you can.
Blah blah blah.
Wherever the adapter is, it requires the power into it. You've literally got the power for it, instead of trying to have to fish around and find a.
Yeah. There we go. If we were closing up this case, I wouldn't be satisfied with this. But again, I'm going to run this open. So this is acceptable to me because I can just unplug all of this and pull the cage out. Otherwise, in order to deal with this, I'd have to take the back side panel off and unplug them from there. And that means I've got to pull the computer out. Whereas now this can be backed up against the wall with just the side facing out. I think we're done. Back, yeah, if you just want to quickly wipe that down and we'll put the back on in the meet. I
was seeing if I could balance it here. The answer was no.
You do it, you do it. So
this is not a two-person operation.
It is not. I'm going to use the bathroom.
Why is there a footprint on the side of the case?
It's a handprint. Yeah, it's a handprint. It's
okay.
I was just like, how the hell did that happen?
Very well. Take off the thermal paste. Yep. Clean. Remove the suspicious hand footprint. There you go. And I think we have basically managed to do this entire build without actually scratching the side panels. So, yay us. Operation successful. You can just go over there. Now, should this go back in? Maybe. Stuff that all down there. The other question as well is, do you want that in there?
No. It's hideous.
It's awful. Very well.
I think it's there as I mentioned last week when we were looking at it. I think it's there I think it's there to provide heavy-duty card support for like extreme rigidity for transport, etc. And that's not a scenario that this computer is going to encounter. Let's turn you off for a bit because I don't think we need that. No.
Has he got a bit crossed?
No, we got someone who doesn't need to be here. Bye-bye. Right. Okay, right. Do you want me to panel?
There we go. Yes.
How do we know which way up these go?
Because the corners are different.
Yeah.
Because that's square and that's round.
Ah, yes.
And it.
Do these step in or slide in? They step in, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Moment of truth. Hang on a sec. Oh.
Yeah, they just go square and then push.
Yeah. Right.
You need to, pull that out. There you go.
We're bowing. We're bowing ever so... no, we're not actually. Now I'm settling that. I mean, there's a millimetre of bow, but entirely acceptable and will not be seen.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, that's all right.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Part of me would have liked to have seen what it could look like if we RGB'd it and stuff. But to be honest, I think I kind of mentally abandoned that idea when we decided to air cool it. Because look, I'll level. You put blood on everything, Caradog.
Yeah, probably.
I'll level with you all. I think these are hideous. They're very good, but I think they're hideous. So at that point, I think we were going down the utilitarian look, and I think that looks very utilitarian. The cables are fine. However, also I think I need to give myself a little bit of credit, just because cases like this are very, very difficult to cable manage in a meaningful way. I've done case rebuilds before on the channel where I've been building in like an old Antec or someone's old computer, which predates having cable management, and gone, oh god, there's nowhere to put any of the cables.
Yeah.
And this has got holes going through the case, but nothing behind the case. And so that means actually just having a clear center place is surprisingly difficult. So yeah, cool. Right, let's see. Blood sacrifice, say or post. Yeah, that's true. Right, I'm going to plug it in over there, I think, rather than start setting up the capture and stuff, and we'll just point a camera at it. So I'm going to carry it over there and plug that in. Have a quick look. Will it post? Yeah, we've got to go for the post. The D15 Chronomax is nice. Yeah, the black Noctuas are cool. I don't like bare metal. I don't think it looks very nice. But that's not what these coolers are about. It's what, so. Right. It's not light anymore.
I just like the fact that you were making these noises before you swapped it out of a 220T. Ah!
God, it's tall.
Yes.
Next question. Yeah. Right, I'll put it there for now. We'll get clearance for the DVD drive later. You're going to thread that down there. Yeah. We'll get you guys a view of this in a minute. I'm just plugging stuff in. Right, Caradog, do you want to see if you lean that guy forward, point it in this direction, and stick it on like 65 degrees? It will probably get a reasonable view.
Yes, I was just working out which way round it needed to be to point this way. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to do that. And then 65 degrees, yes.
Oh, there's so much junk on this desk. Who put all of this here?
Yes.
All right. Oh, you lens swapping?
Yeah, I've just
Yeah.
swapped to the bench cam. Oh,
yeah, fair enough. Okay.
But because I have the power,
Caradog needs to do a lens flex. Let everyone know that he's got lots of lenses. And that his lenses are bigger than everyone else's lenses.
Absolutely.
He's got big lenses. Big. All right. That will do for now. Oops. You can go over that. That looks badass, if nothing else. Again, I just love the verticality of this. I love how vertical it is without being huge. All right. Bam. Oh, that looks cool. Yeah. Right. Power supply on.
It is cropping halfway through your face, so you'll need to crouch.
All right, so
You'll have the
stand
power
here.
stance.
No one can see our legs, so this joke doesn't really work. Anyway. Bang. Hey. Hurrah! Got to turn off the RGB on the motherboard. I think I will just switch that off. That can be turned off in BIOS. It is posting. I want to lean in and look at the chat, but if I lean in and look at the chat, my head just goes in the way. It boots into Windows. There we go. So, oh, hang on a sec. We can do that thing where we can be like... I did the meme. I did the meme. All right.
Absolutely. But there we go. Ta-da.
Yeah, that's it. It's in another case now. And now the camera is completely wrongly set up for anything else. This is how we have to end the podcast.
Yeah, we just have to stand back here.
Yeah, but the focus point is like halfway across the desk, so we've kind of got to do that, you know. So, right, hang on a sec. I do want to read the chat though.
It's okay. Swap to the bench cam at 90 degrees and it'll be fine.
It might be actually. Hang on a sec. Bench cam 90. This is our new rap album. Yeah. Want to see Mobo temps? Oh no, the Mobo temps will be low. No one cares. Hard drive temp. Well, they've got a fan blowing up, and they'll be fine.
Yeah. There is also not horrific vibration in that cage.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's assuming that the drives have all spun up anyway. Motherboard temps. Well, okay, what temps are you after? Like literally the temperature of the motherboard, or like the CPU and stuff? We'd have to wait for it to warm up, and well, yeah. Hang on a sec. What's the timer on?
I can't even remember this password. Never mind.
It is, yeah.
It is the one that I have forgotten. Hence me not being able to remember it.
Yeah. Okay, right. We are logged in. I think we've got stuff available on this one. Right, let me just adjust this. Whoop. It's going to be really awkward to set up capture onto that computer at the moment because I don't have any HDMI cables going over here. So we can't really give you a capture. We can...
There we go.
Yeah, we're verifying that all of the drives are detected first.
There you go.
Oh yeah, there we go. So there's 3 hard drives and an SSD detected. Yeah, temps only makes sense during a benchmark. Yeah, there's not a lot to show you if I'm honest. One thing that I would like, I do want to make sure that I've figured out what order the drives are in and number them in an appropriate order so I know which drive is which, because that's very useful. So like, is the red down the bottom or at the top?
The red is the bottom drive.
So yeah, the red's at the bottom, then I'd have like green 1 and green 2 or something.
Okay.
Run Cinebench. Yeah, have we got Cinebench on this one? I mean, I see...
There is still data on this drive.
Probably. I have used it at one point.
Oh, okay.
I stopped using it though because those greens are bull slow. Like, they're good because they've got 4 terabytes, but they are slow. So yeah, it's Cinebench there.
I've no idea.
Okay.
I saw that. New toolkit shortcut.
Yeah.
Cinebench R23.
There we go. Yeah, we'll Cinebench it. Let me go to... Whoop. There we go. Okay, right. I'm going to have a quick look. Okay, sure. Yeah. The pint glasses you want are on Etsy. Personalised etched pint glasses for £8 each. That's not bad. Okay, I might come back. Sorry, I'm going to come back around to that one. Not a bad idea to check the idle temps just in case there's a bad CPU mount. Yeah, that's true. We're going to find out because we are Cinebenching anyway. And yeah, it's probably good to make sure that, you know what, this isn't a terrible idea, so yeah.
Shockingly, the drives are in the 20s.
Yeah, oh yeah, it'll take the drives a while to warm up. I would imagine we'll see those in the mid-30s once they've warmed up. There is a fan blowing on them, but they don't have airflow per se. Oh god. I forget that this is a 6-core. When I was planning to build this computer originally, and I was like, I'm going to put an 8600K in it, I had a falling out with a chap in the comments that was just like, oh, you shouldn't do that, you should get a Ryzen, mate, it will spank that. He was not wrong. I should have bought a Ryzen. But I had just come off of an FX8, and I was really all AMD'd out at that time. I was like, no, I want to go Intel, and I can't afford an i7. So I bought an 8600K.
Yeah.
It's not a bad CPU, if I'm honest, but just versus modern CPUs have come so far in the past 3 years. The past 3 years have just been astonishing for CPU performance. It's quite something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole fact that we've got 50% single thread improvement from FX to Ryzen 1, and then we got what, 20% from Ryzen 1 to Ryzen 2?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So it's just like, okay.
Just seeing just 6 threads running here, it's just like, what do you mean there's only 6 threads?
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, this was Coffee Lake, which was when they just slapped another 2 cores onto the i5. Although I wouldn't have bought a quad-core i5. The only reason why I went with the i5 was because they just stuck another 2 cores on it. So it was feasible as far as I was concerned. But yeah,
the fan's not even running.
Yeah. Yeah. What would was the 8700K 8 core 16 thread, or was it 6 core 12 thread? I can't remember.
I would have to say it was 6 core 12 thread, but I'm uncertain.
Yeah. Oh, well.
However, yes, these temperatures are entirely boring.
Yep. So running Cinebench, our maximum temperature has been 52 degrees C. So yeah, 52 degrees. That's very good.
Yeah.
And the noise levels, it's audible, but it's a very pleasant whisper quiet kind of thing. There's different kinds of noise. I'm trying to find a place where I can be on camera as well. There we go. There's different kinds of noise, and this is there is noise from here, but it's all just it's just wind kind of thing. It's not a whir or a whine. It's just a wind noise, which is perfectly fine to have in the background. And there's a little bit of noise from having hard drives in it, but not awful.
Yeah.
So yeah, and considering this is load speed as well.
Yeah.
The graphics card would make a noise if we fired up superposition, but the graphics card, the only reason why it's in there is just because I have it spare. That's the only reason why there's a graphics card in this thing, is just because that's a 970, just for anyone who's curious. So yeah. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, it's cool. The DVD drive opens. Was it visible in device manager or disk management?
It's right
oh
there.
yeah, nice. Yep, got to sort out those drive letters.
Yeah.
So the DVD drive is on the end of the letters instead of in the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, sweet, good. That's it. Yeah. We got anything else? Is this the special 24 hours edition of Two Guys Talk Tech? It is not. It is we're over 3 hours, and I'm now going to wrap up, I think. Let's pick up this laptop again so I can read chat. Let's see. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. Let's see. You've still got a 4790K. Yeah, the 4790K is still holding out for gaming. It's getting on, but the raw clock speed of it really carries it along. So yeah. TGTT is Two Guys Talk Tech, which is technically the name of this podcast. We do title it Two Guys Talk Tech, don't we?
Something like that.
Is that actually in the title? It is, yes. It is in the title. Yep, there we go. Right. Graham, next video. I'm not sure. I think there's a laptop that needed a display assembly to be rebuilt in the pipeline. So I've got a laptop tear down and rebuild. I need to do the autopsy of the HP that caught fire. Then there's a few in progress videos. There's a good one for a touchscreen replacement. I think that's about it. There's nothing that's really changing my world in the pipeline at the moment. There's obviously the reviews that are in progress. I think I'm going to be recording quite a lot of review videos very soon, because there's lots of bits I've got kicking around that I've got in for review I have now had them for a couple of weeks, and I'm ready to actually record a video about them with my opinion of them.
Yeah, still need to get the Pinecil ones actually out.
Not the Pinecil, the secure. Yeah. That one is recorded. I've got to edit it. I need to smash that out this week and just get it out
and then
there.
You've got that little thing.
Yeah, that's only just come in. I've got a little M.2 USB adapter here, which is it's quite nice. So yeah, I'm going to make it. This is going to be a video where I'm going to do a video. It's going to be this and this this and Drive Snapshot rolled into one. So using Drive Snapshot to duplicate drives using this. And also its built-in duplication and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
What brand was that again? This is the Acasis M.2 USB adapter, and it's got where's the preview? There we go. Acasis M.2 adapter USB. Stick your NVMe drives in it. It's got a built-in cloner, so you put 2 drives in, push the button, it clones them. Haven't tested the cloning functionality yet. As a device, though, it feels very good. The build quality feels great. My first impressions of it are quite positive. It does what it's supposed to do. And Acasis make a lot of very useful things. I did ask them for a lot more. I did actually say, I like this, and I like this. And they said, we'll send you this. I'm like, okay. But perhaps it's a case of they're going to send me one thing, and if they like my video on that, then they'll send me more stuff. So yeah. They've actually got some capture cards, and they had like a quad port HDMI capture card and stuff. I'm like, that's something that will be very useful to me. So yes,
especially as you've got the microscope now.
Yeah, that's right. Well. Lots of channels have reviewed that one already. Not surprising, when I get offers to review stuff, it's usually someone who's been doing the rounds and sending it to everyone. Yeah. However, I need to get over the concept of someone has already done this and be like, I don't care. This is what I thought of it, because at the end of the day, not everyone is subscribed to the channels that have already reviewed that. So
Yeah.
It's the same as with the air dusters. Everyone and their dog has done a video about the data vac at this point.
Probably,
However,
yeah.
I haven't done a video about a data vac, so
Yeah.
you know. Good, right. Anything else? You like put the proper cable, blah, blah, blah. You like how I put proper cable channels on the walls? They were already here in my defense, but thanks. Good, right. You'd be super worried about accidentally snapping the drive sticking out of it, though. I know what you mean. There are other solutions where the drives lay flat in the device.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the solution to that is don't snap off the drive. However,
put it somewhere safe.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's a trade-off. It takes up less space on the desk, but you are correct. That's a matter of don't put it somewhere where you might easily knock a drive off of it and snap it.
But yeah,
I think that's
I was
worth
just wondering if you did push it, if it would just
break
kind
out.
of slide out. But
no, you could easily snap a drive in half in that. I agree. It's not something that I would live in fear of, but it's worth mentioning that there are other devices where the drives lay flat and thus would not be at risk.
Yeah,
so that's reasonable.
I also like the little things like your little like Elutang thing, where it's just a little enclosure, because obviously that also means it can be hot swappable, but also it's portable.
Yes.
And whilst they're slightly different classes of product,
yeah,
I just like that those things exist.
That's something that I would mention in the video, as these are other devices that you can also use for accessing your NVMe drives. I've wanted a bare one like this for a while, because at the moment when I'm having to image or duplicate NVMe drives, I'm having to swap them out from the motherboard on this computer, which is a very annoying process to do.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's just annoying.
Is that is this a Mac one?
That's an NVMe one. Yep, that works on PC. And that's another way of doing it. Is I often stick them in there because it's easier to put them on this PCI card and slot that in than it is to get to the M.2 slots on the motherboard. Yeah. That's one reason why sometimes I don't run a graphics card in this computer, because it makes the motherboard more accessible. But a better solution to that is to have an adapter. So yeah.
Have you seen if this is actually 20 gigabit?
I have not tested the speed, no. So yeah, I need to do some speed testing on it. I doubt it would keep up with a Gen 4, but it doesn't need to. If it can max a Gen 3 drive, that's good enough.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because in a Gen 3 drive, it's still going to pull. It's still going to pull, 10 or 20,000 megabytes per minute. So yeah. Cringing as Caradog prods there. Yes. Good. Right. Right. We are done. So let's wrap up, and we will discuss more about stuff another time. What's the model of the case? This guy. This is a Lian Li X1000 or PC X1000. I think it's in the title. Is it in the title? It's in the title. It's a Lian Li X1000. Right. Past that, we're out of here because we're all done. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Thank you for the super chats. Thanks for coming along as always. And we'll see you guys next week. What are we doing next week? I've got some things. We've got the build. We've got the bench case that we could play with. Because
the only comment was
I could do
saying you wanted to do a review video on it.
I haven't decided. I've got so many other things to review that I'm kind of tempted to just stick that as a podcast. And then, if it went really well, make a highlight video for the main channel.
Sure.
So yeah, we might look at the test bench one next week. Failing that, there's always things kicking around the shop to do. So we'll come up with something for you guys. So yeah, cooler fix. Oh, the freezer. No. Well, not yet. Well,
no.
Yeah.
There will be something after it has been fixed.
Yeah.
The process of fixing it will not be recorded.
Yeah, agreed. That whatever way we spin it, that's not going to be convenient, but it'll be seen again. It'll be back. It'll be back.
But it's said when we were swapping parts around about just wanting to go through sort of stuff on motherboards and things, kind of canned overclocking. There was a mention of that when I got the Asus ROG board.
Oh yeah,
Whatever the hell it was. We're going through that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, very good. Cool. Yeah, so we've got stuff and things, but a lot of this stuff is just it's going to be weak. The timescale is weeks. So yeah, it will appear at some point, but the timescale is weeks.
Yeah, there'll be stuff
as and when it happens.
yeah,
anyway.
like for the freezer, need to buy gas for it.
Yeah.
Before anything else happens.
It's not a priority. It'll just get done as and when. Anyway, we're out of here. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon. Build the Proxmox, Naxplex, blah, blah, the stuff. Maybe I will decide if I need it or not. I'm not super into it. I need to decide if it's right for me. I need to look at the use case and decide if that's what I want. I don't like doing highly integrated systems like that. I like something that is simple. It's kind of like some people might be like, oh, build an NAS. Like, I'd rather just have a 4 terabyte hard drive and do right-click share as in Windows. That's what I'd prefer to do because that's just how I roll.
Yeah, because it's also a case of none of the stuff requires any sort of disk redundancy.
Yeah, exactly that. So
because any of the stuff that's actually important will be on another computer anyway,
so,
or in a backup somewhere else. Because
I don't like
running a NAS is not a backup.
Yeah, I don't like running complicated setups like that just because it makes everything more complicated and it's not my thing. But I kind of want to look into that so I know what can be done and what is possible, because there might be sometimes where someone comes to me and I'm like, I tell you what you need Proxmox. And at that point I will know how to set it up. So I will consider these things, but no promises. No promises. MacOS Proxmox for recovery or learning. See, like MacOS, I don't need MacOS on Proxmox because I have Macs. You know, like there is an iMac over there. The iMac is there specifically for Mac data recovery. And it's kind of like there was a chap in the we're going for a Dutch camera angle now. There was a chap in the Discord who was trying to make MacOS boot disks. I'm like, just buy a cheap MacBook Air and do it on that. It's so much easier. Yes, you could build a Proxmox, you could do a VM setup for MacOS, or you could just have a Mac on the bench. And if you are working on Macs, if you are repairing Macs, just have a Mac on your bench. It's so much easier, and a cheap Mac is not expensive. So yeah. So that's the thing. Looks like a bomb went off. It did, yes. A HP went off over there. Anyway, today I learned Dutch camera angle. Well, Dutch camera angle will probably be more like that. There we go. Whoa! We're going. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for coming in. See you next time.
Very well.
Bye.
Indeed. Thank you for coming.
See ya.
Goodbye. Ta-ra.
Wait, hang on a sec. Not yet. Now would be a good time to insert ads, says YouTube. Creators earn more money inserting ads the more viewers are watching. That probably came up when we peaked.
We have peaked.
Bye.
This is no longer peak content.